Okay, we just got wrecked by Source. Holy crap. Alright. The fear you always have whenever you do that. Just get absolutely wrecked by Source on Africa TV. Let me just check the sound levels, make sure we're in good shape. Looks like we're pretty good. I'll bring the desktop audio down just a little bit so we're a little bit more balanced. I'm talking over Ginyu, and it looks like we have Brittany today. I believe that's Brittany. I'm going purely off of his looks, so I could be totally wrong, but I think that's Brittany. But welcome to the Ginyu Team Battle, Round of 4, Day 2. I am Esports John, your host for today. Unfortunately, no casters are going to be with me today. No Flash for the win, no Blind Raw or anybody, so it's just going to be me. You'll have to endure my bad casting, but I hope you guys enjoy nonetheless. Today we have a pretty good matchup. It's going to be Team Soulkey versus Team Last. And if you remember, Team Soulkey played in the first week. We didn't really get to see much of the rest of the players because Light just killed everyone. And meanwhile, Team Last had a little bit of a shakier match, but ultimately it was Minnie who came out and surprised everyone and did a really, really good job. Nearly got the all kill there as well. So lots of good stuff coming in for today. I think these are probably the two best teams in the tournament, aside from Team Flash with just Flash. It's like Team Flash is literally the only reason why that team is good, but with Team Soulkey and Last, very, very good teams. I think this is probably going to be the highest caliber games that we've seen all tournament long. I'm looking forward to the games today. And we are going to be able to see Soulkey in the first match, so that's pretty nice. First match is guaranteed to be Soulkey versus Last. By the way, you guys, I actually did wake up fairly early this morning. I woke up at 3 a.m. because I fell asleep rather early last night. And I was doing really good up until about an hour or two ago. An hour or two ago, I suddenly just like the exhaustion hit me and I was like, oh god, I want to go back to sleep. But didn't do it. Made my coffee and I'm ready for this now. I've got all kinds of beverages in front of me. I got water, Sprite, and coffee to get me through this cast. It's gonna be a good cast today, I think. So, I did cut my hair. You guys are gonna see in just a second once we cut to the games. But I did cut my hair, shave my beard. I look about even younger than I was before. I'm like 26, but I look like I'm 16 now, so that's gonna be pretty fun. It's always really nice whenever I grow out a beard and then shave it off, because every time I shave it off, I go, oh, you know what? I'm not as young as I thought I was. I'm not as old as I thought I was. I'm actually pretty young. You know, I still have plenty of life ahead of me that I don't feel so bad about. You know, not having a job and not having a career yet, etc., etc. So it's all good with me. But we're in good shape because we're casting Brood War, and every day casting Brood War is a good day. Every single time. I always love seeing all of these well-produced Brood War events that just combine all these really excellent players. And although this isn't necessarily the highest caliber of play that we've ever seen, I've really been enjoying the team battles, and I think it definitely represents. It makes me miss the old days of Pro League, because there was so much riding on Pro League, and there was so much out-of-game strategy involved with who you bring out, who plays first, who's your ace player, etc., etc. So it's really cool to see this sort of thing come together, and to see these players play in a Pro League-like setting, in the same sort of kind of format. So I assume we're probably going to be going into the first game pretty soon, but Brittany and Ginyu just continuing to to banter back and forth. Sorry, you guys. The exhaustion is catching up with me very quickly. I'm trying to down this coffee and get back on track. But man, it's rough today. Either way, oh, also great news, guys. I just got my TBLS replays from Fat vs. AJ, so I will definitely be casting those and putting them up on YouTube. I'm definitely thinking about putting together casting days when I get to my new place. When I get to my new place and everything kind of settles down a little bit, I'm going to be going all in on the YouTube, Twitch life and just producing things every day if possible. So I'm going to put together a streaming schedule, going to be doing a little bit more stuff. So it's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. And hopefully I can produce enough content to get Twitch and YouTube partners. That's the goal. That's my dream for right now. I'm going to make that big push for the next 3 months and hopefully achieve that. And that'll be a supplemental income on top of whatever job that I'm doing. You guys ready to go? You guys ready to go? Kinda? Close the door? Don't close the door? We got this, guys. Hello, other person. I don't know if that's like Genyuta's wife or girlfriend or what. I don't really know. I don't know that too much about it, but it looks like we are gonna be hopping into the first match now. Alright guys, should I try for source? Should I try for source? Should I just go with this? We'll just go with it for now. Maybe we'll try source on a different day, but going into the first game, it's gonna be Soulkey versus his opponent, Mini. And both of these players pretty good right now. I know I said it a lot in the last cast that we did with Mini. I said he's a bit of a cheesier player. You can definitely expect some tricky stuff from him, and a lot of people are upset by that, but I stand by it. Mini's kind of a cheesy player. But Soulkey, very straightforward, very a normal sort of ZVP player. He's not going to do anything super crazy. By the way, guys, let me know if the audio levels are good for you guys, because the casters sound a little bit louder to me today, but I could be wrong. Anyhow, so I talked about a little bit yesterday about how it's pretty interesting that ZVP in the recent last couple of weeks has been heading back towards more mobile, more counterattack styles. That when we looked at ZVP during ASL 3, during the SSL Classic, etc., there was a lot of this 3-hatch Hydra bus, 5-hatch Hydra bus, 5-hatch Hydra bus into drops, etc., etc. So there was a lot of emphasis on getting these big Hydra mid-game armies and adding on lurkers, going Hydra lurker and stuff like that. But recently we've been seeing a swing back towards big, more mobile armies, going just straight into Mutaling and just not really threatening the Protoss like directly, but anytime the Protoss tries to move out, the Lings can just wrap around and snipe the third base, and there's not enough units in position, stuff like that. And it's really interesting to see that sort of playstyle come out. And I think honestly, it's probably more of an artifact of the maps. We have lots of 3-player maps in this map pool, and 3-player maps are always really good for counterattacking because you can't really cover them quite as well when you're attacking. There aren't very there's always ways to flank around because the bases aren't in the corners, so it's really cool to actually see this. Hey there, Vitali. It's Soulkey versus Mini in this game. We have a pretty standard Forge Fast Expand coming out right now. Meanwhile, it looks like we are going to be seeing that triple hatch, the third hatch up in the top right-hand corner for Soulkey. So he is going to be playing a lot more of that far away playstyle. That tells me that he's definitely playing to the late game here. He's going to be going for the late game, maybe going to Hive up against Mini, but we'll have to see what Mini decides to do. We saw some pretty interesting builds yesterday. For instance, I think it was, who was that? I have such a hard time remembering what happens from day to day. It was Free. Free did a really weird Zealot legs attack early on. He just skipped Corsairs entirely for the early part of the game and actually just went for a big Zealot attack, and it worked out really well for him, surprisingly. Effort scattered the entire thing. He just didn't have enough units in position to deal with it. He ended up losing quite a lot, but there is the possibility that Mini could try something like that as well. It's a very interesting build, and it's one that I've really enjoyed watching in more recent months. I believe somebody did it in ASL 3 as well. They went a Zealot attack into double Stargate. It's a really interesting build that forces the Zerg player to tech switch really hard, which is something that you don't normally see is Protoss dictating the tech switches, but when Protoss can dictate the tech switches like that, it really makes a lot of... It makes it really easy for the Protoss to actually take that third base, because the Zerg player is kind of stuck in between, do I drone, do I make Sunkens versus Spores, etc. So, Cybernetic score coming down, we're going to find out. Ooh, +1 is coming out already, so definitely going to see a Zealot attack coming out at some point. We're going to see if he does. He is going to go for the Zealot legs. So I predicted this. I'm a god. We're going to see the Zealot legs coming out, and the natural follow-up to that is the double Stargate. But he may just decide to go into Templar Archives and go to Zealot Archon as well. That's also a possibility. We'll have to see how well Soulkey's able to scout all this out and respond. It's a very strong attack. It's very difficult to actually deal with it. So 3 gates so far. Let's see if he puts the 4th gate at his natural. Sometimes Protoss players will spread out their gateways and make it difficult to actually scout, but only 3 gateways is a little surprising. That tells me that he's definitely planning out a follow-up in tech, not planning to go too heavy into those Zealots. So really cool stuff. I really like seeing this sort of play coming out from Mini right now. And meanwhile, a couple of Lings are coming out across the map right now. They're going to be scouting out the front, seeing what's going on. I'm sure that Soulkey saw the Forge spinning really, really early, so he's got to know that this is coming at some point in the next minute or so. So he's going to be getting up that 4th, maybe the 5th hatchery. I think maybe going for a 5th hatchery is dangerous in this position. I haven't played against this too much, so I don't know what the exact answer is, but usually you would go for the just 5th hatchery and then go up to your Hydralisk and the Evo chamber from there, but he may decide to actually just stop on 4 and go straight into the Hydras to deal with this. But a couple of Zealots moving out right now, and the Stargate's already started, so it looks like this isn't going to be a very dedicated attack. Mini's only going to be going up to maybe 6 or 7 Zealots before he actually moves out with the Zealot legs. He's just going to be biding his time until he gets his Corsairs out, hoping that Soulkey overreacted by scouting this. +1 is about to finish, and this is where it starts to get really scary. Here come the legs as well. The first Mutalisks are out. They're going to be able to push this back. This is a very smart decision from Soulkey. Just go ahead and get the Mutalisks out, and you kind of guarantee that these Zealots can be chased away. The Zealot's going to actually still do quite a bit of damage to this 3rd base if Soulkey doesn't respond fast enough. There's only one of those sunken colonies there, but luckily it is in the middle of the mineral line, so he can glitch out these Zealots quite a bit with the drones. Still, he doesn't have any units in position to deal with this right now, and Soulkey is just actually Ling's running the wrong direction. They're not prepared to deal with this, and he's actually going to evacuate the drones, just completely unprepared to deal with this sort of pressure coming in from Mini. A couple of Zealots try to run in there into the main, but they're not going to be able to get too much. He's just, Soulkey's deciding to just clean up this base with Mutalisks instead, not going to commit a whole bunch of Lings to it, which may be smart, but it's going to take a lot of damage before these Zealots finally go down. And meanwhile, behind this, High Templar coming out, +1 air weapons as well as Corsairs, so Lots of tech coming out from Mini. He's going to be able to take the tech advantage pretty soon. But the fact that Soulkey didn't lose mini drones and didn't lose that third base means he's in a pretty good spot coming up here. So this is actually quite good overall from Soulkey. He's going to keep building the Scourge and the Mutalisk and just focus on deflecting any more attacks that come his way. He might even try to go for bust timing right now. And there's only one Zealot here and 2 cannons, and not much to defend. The Scourge are here. They're going to be able to push back the... they're going to be able to push back these Corsairs once they get here. Only one Archon out right now, and that's going to be able to push back the Mutalisk as well. So this isn't going to be an outright win, but that could have been a very scary timing right there. A couple more Scourge walking in, just kind of dying. Not sure what happened there. That could have been a lot worse than it actually was, but still, this is good for Soulkey because behind that, he's been droning up. He's been getting a very nice saturation at his bases. So he's going to be in a really good spot to go into the big Hydra Flood coming up pretty soon. And the Hydra Flood's going to do very well against the Zealot Archon that's coming out. What's Zealot getting in here? It's actually going to get into the main, I think. Wow. 3 health left on that. It will eventually go down to that Ling that was chasing it, but lots of Scourge here. It's going to be really difficult to actually get in here with these Corsairs and actually stop the Mutalisk from doing this harassment. But Soulkey pulling back right now. He's just focusing on containing his opponent while he gets all his tech up, while he gets his economy out. And Soulkey actually playing pretty immaculately this game. I'm quite impressed how well he's been playing overall in this game. Edgewater says SK so committed. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think he's got plenty of economy behind this, and he's getting all of his upgrades. This is a really good position for Soulkey. Honestly, he's not in. He's definitely not in a bad position at all. There's hardly any gateway units out, and the Corsair count's still pretty low that he can push this back with the Mutalisk and the Scourge. So overall, pretty good. 4th base is about to go down for Soulkey up in that 12 o'clock position. Meanwhile, just getting all those upgrades, starting to pump out the Hydras right now. We'll see if he goes up to a very scary mass of, you know, like 2-3 dozen, or if he decides to just go small and focus on lurker defense while he takes up the hive. Knowing Soulkey generally likes to go for those big Hydra armies, so it would make sense for Soulkey to go really heavily into the Hydras, get a very big mid-game army. We'll have to see what his tech decision is coming out. And it looks like Mini's actually moving out on the map right now. I'm not sure if this is a take a third in that 6 o'clock base, or if it's a really threatened attack. But either way, Soulkey is prepared if an attack comes by. He's got units both at his 3rd base and his natural, so he's going to be able to defend pretty well if he does, if Mini decides to commit to an attack. I wish we could see the how far along the lurker upgrade is, because that's one of the most important upgrades coming up right now. When you're up against this Zealot Archon, lurkers are so important because they just shred through all of those zealots. Mini is slowly taking his 3rd base. I think he's finally taking his 3rd base down here in the 6 o'clock position. And this is smart because we talked about this a little bit yesterday as well. When you take your base going towards your opponent on this map, it makes it so much easier to deal with counterattacks and things like that, because when you push towards your opponent's main in this position, while taking that 3rd base behind it, you're protecting both bases at the same time with the push. Normally the problem you have with 3rd bases is you always leave an opening in your opponent for your opponent to counterattack, rather, but it's much harder in this position with this 3rd base. Still, a couple Lings do get down on the 3rd base. They may be able to snipe a couple of units, but Mini smartly placing a few units there. He's going to be able to clean that up pretty nicely. And interesting, we already have drops coming in, so we're going to be seeing Reavers coming out pretty soon. Another counterattack coming in here while this army is up at the 3rd base of Soulkey. There's a couple of lurkers. They're going to be able to push this back, which is really nice. So well played by Soulkey. He's getting value all over the map, being smart about knowing that his opponent doesn't have those observers yet. He can push it back with just a few lurkers. And not playing overly defensively. Continuing to gain this map control and flying around these Mutalisk and the Scourge. And these... Oh. Wow, I'm really surprised that Soulkey didn't commit there. He definitely could have picked off at least 3 or 4 of those Corsairs. and done some serious damage, but instead decides to just pull back, not commit to killing that. And Soulkey just doing a really good job. He's pushing out these creep colonies. He's going to build a couple spores to push back the possibility of any observers getting on top of those lurkers. And this fourth base already saturated, so lots of income coming in from Soulkey right now. He's probably taking up the hive as we speak. And we'll see if he switches into that heavier Ling Defiler lurker style coming up pretty soon. Surely, once he starts getting all those upgrades for the Lings, he'll be pumping out quite a bit of them. Lings are very cost-effective against gateway units, so wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. But Mini actually catching up, going for that fourth base immediately while he has this small amount of map control, and the Zerg is taking the hive. So very good response by Mini to just identify the small weaknesses in his opponent's build and have units in the right position, both threatening the or scouting out the third base and threatening the natural at the same time. So cool stuff so far from both players. This is honestly one of the highest level games that we've seen in the tournament so far, so I've really been enjoying this. Mini just always, he's so smart about just always leaving a couple of units at these bases to deal with any sort of Ling or Mutalisk counterattacks, and the first shuttle's out with 2 Reavers. Let's see if Mini decides to go for a drop. I think maybe a drop play this late in the game is not a great idea unless you go for the storm drop. Instead, he's probably just going to be joining this up with his army and going for a big frontal push with the Reaver shots. And third base, not as quite developed as this natural for Soulkey, so Soulkey's going to have to make sure that he scouts this out and has units in position in time to deal with it. Hopefully the Nidus Canal is finished so he can immediately teleport up there, but Mini's going for the big attack in the third, and this is going to be a make or break moment for Mini. If Mini manages to break this, the game will split wide open. But Soulkey's actually going to be going for a counterattack instead. Oh gosh, there was a bug that just flew into my eyes. Oh god. So the first attack is coming in. Very nice split on these lurkers so far, but the Reavers are slowly going to be able to push this back. This does have a bit of a time limit because it is going to take a long time to actually kill this, but if that Hydra Ding goes down, it's going to be much harder to actually defend this. That means there's going to be no more lurkers coming out after that. It's going to be relying entirely on cracklings for the defense, but Soulkey going in for the big surround. He's got a big army coming in from the backside. Not a lot behind this though, so I'm a little bit worried about him actually trying to sandwich this army. So smart from Mini. He leaves one zealot behind to scout this flank coming in. He knows what's going to happen, so this is just like brilliant from Mini. Mini is playing probably one of the best PvZs I've seen in recent months, and wow, just perfectly having those zealots in position to break this push that's coming in, but managed to push this back, clean this up, whittle away some of the units. This isn't horrible for Soulkey so far because he's still holding the line, but he needs to stop hemorrhaging units up there at his third base. He needs to collect them behind the Sunkens and just wait for the front wall to go down. Once the front wall goes down, then he can easily clean up this army. Meanwhile, he really does need to be doing a counterattack, but some DTs and some zealots coming into the main base for Mini. If Soulkey doesn't realize that that's there, he could lose quite a bit. And looks like they're going to go straight for the middle line. They're not going to focus on the attack. And Soulkey realizing what's going on and immediately pulling the drones. But this third base is in a lot of danger. Looks like Mini is actually going to pull off of that. And they're killing off the Zergling, the spawning pool. So no more Zerglings. No more Cracklings are going to actually be able to reinforce. It's going to be entirely off the back of whatever Hydras he has left. And behind this, Mini taking a fifth as well. So really impressive play. Every time he attacks, you see it's always on the opposite side of where his army is. It's a very smart play. He moves up to the third base, takes that fourth down on the bottom left, and then he moves to the 9 o'clock position and takes his fourth at the 3 o'clock. Such smart play from Mini. Just brilliant tactical positioning. This is... I'm blown away, honestly. Yes, it's the Zergling Den. I will say it. I still call it the Ultra Den as well, because I don't even know what it's called, like the Ultralisk Cavern? Cavern, that's what it is. It's Ultra Den. So lots of units coming in right here, and the natural not as well defended as it used to be. There are no more Lings right now because of that spawning pool going down early on. But the Dark Swarms are going to be enough to push this back right now. With no Zealots, it's not going to be very strong. And big Storm Drop coming in here, that's going to kill off a handful of drones. Not the hugest deal, but still, definitely that's a full base of mining that is going to be stopped for right now. And Soulkey is just scrambling to keep up with this pressure that Mini's putting around the map. And meanwhile, Mini is just continuing to get that economy out, continue to pull ahead. And his main still isn't even mined out. This is rare. You never see Protoss up on bases like this, but Mini's just doing such a good job of controlling the map. And once this base goes up, it's going to be impossible for Soulkey to break it. This is the beginning of the end for Soulkey, unless he can pull off a major upset by killing off this entire army with losing almost nothing. But it's pretty much impossible. Mini is maxed out, and there just isn't a lot that you can do against this gigantic death ball coming out from Protoss. The Hydra Den is going to be going down soon, and that means there's no more Hydras. Hopefully Soulkey made the Hydra Den in another place in anticipation of that going down. If not, that's going to be another rough couple of minutes while Soulkey scrambles to get his defenses in line. And Soulkey just continuing to control them, or Mini continuing to control the middle of the map and keep an eye on where his opponent is. A good play going down on that army, and oh, unfortunate, that drop gets cleaned up really nicely by those Scourge that were in position. A couple more Scourge are going to be there for any follow-up drops. And Soulkey honestly needs a miracle at this point. He's going to try to counterattack with just Lings, but there's so many cannons here now, it's not going to happen. It's going to be so difficult. And more Dark Templar in the main. Luckily, there's a couple of units that just happen to be in position to deal with this. So they're going to be able to push this back right now. But one Dark Templar escapes. Let's see if Soulkey manages to actually chase it down. Good, he finds it in that corner. Very smart play to realize exactly how many Dark Templar were in his base. And meanwhile, trying to get this 5th base up. This isn't a huge deal at this point. Zerg only really needs the 4 bases, and Soulkey's still mining from his main, so it's not a huge deal. But the biggest problem is whenever you get in a split map position versus Terran or Protoss as Zerg, you're always going to find yourself behind, because the longer the game goes on, you're not going to be able to make cost-efficient trades like they will, unless you get into very low economy situations. And we saw a little bit of that yesterday, where you get into super low economy situations and Lings actually clean up everything. But in this particular case, Soulkey is definitely in a lot of trouble if he can't continue to slow down his opponent's economy and clean it up. He does kill off all the cannons in that base, which is going to make it vulnerable for a follow-up Ling counterattack. More Lings coming in here. This is actually really huge. These Lings could actually snipe this Nexus and slow down Mini's economy greatly. So this is a very nice play from Soulkey, being all over the map at once. And yeah, he's definitely going to get that Nexus. Wow. So Soulkey suddenly starting to pull ahead now. He's got his 5th base up, rather. And he's going to be working on a 6th base pretty soon. These Lings are doing so much damage to these gateway units. There's no Archons in that army. So lots of units going down for free to the Lings. And this is what I'm talking about when you get into middle-ish numbers, then suddenly Lings are quite good. And maybe earlier in the game, it was good for Mini to split up his units. But at this point in the game, splitting up his units is being counterproductive for him, because they're just getting cleaned up by Lings. Dang Grill. And these 2 Lings still alive and killing off probes. Wow, those are some hero Lings. More Lings just streaming across the map, and Soulkey actually doing an amazing job of keeping his opponent pinned back and actually finding damage. This is really impressive. He's not going to be able to clean up any of the other bases at this particular moment in time. The 4th base is way too protected. The 5th base as well. So Mini's okay for the time being, but he's got to be careful that he's not losing too many units to this harassment. Meanwhile, Soulkey just playing super defensively at home while sending out these Ling counterattacks. Eventually, this will be slowed down. I actually can't believe that Mini lost that 3rd like that. But I guess it's just one of those, you don't expect that route to come into your 3rd. You expect the Zerg player to attack your fringes, the 5th of the 6th base over there. Sorry, the 4th of the 5th base. But not Soulkey. Soulkey is just continuing to ram down the middle of the map and try to pick off units. And lots of Archons here now, but even with... Actually, wow, those Archons are pretty good. I think it was mostly those Reaver shots, though. And this is kind of a small Protoss army at this point. The Archons are a really nice touch, and having the Reavers is good as well. But at this point, Mini needs to look toward retaking that third base and taking that center expansion as well. He can't just continually let Soulkey trade into him. As long as he's already had a good portion of the minerals on the map. So as long as he plays defensively and just focuses on using DTs and drops to control the map, as well as this big central army, he'll be fine. He just needs to not take damage from all of these link counterattacks that are moving across the map. And a big drop coming in here right now. It's going to get Storms on top of these cannons. And actually, I think he actually might be able to take down this Nexus if he focus fires that. And Mini just suddenly in a world of trouble. He's going to lose his fourth as well. He's going to try to do a Storm drop as well as some DTs. But he's going to lose this base for sure. And this is looking really, really bad for Mini. I know we said just a little while ago that Zerg is 100% dead, but man, Soulkey's been able to claw his way back into this game with just really smart counterattacks, and Mini trying to kill off this base to get back into the game, but I don't think it's that big of a deal for Soulkey. Soulkey's still mining off of 4 bases, so he's not in any dire need of that middle expansion at this moment in time. I can't believe this is happening, guys. I can't. I can't believe this is actually happening, guys. So Mini is now on 1 mining base and a couple of minerals and stuff in his natural and main. He's trying to set up this central forward base, but there's so much Zerg now. Honestly, at this point, if Soulkey just relaxes and maxes out, he can do quite a bit of damage to his opponent. And unfortunately, those Corsairs not actually killing off that Overlord, so this Link should be able to clean it up. Soulkey trying to go in for a push right here. It's not going to work, but a really good plague on all of those Protoss units. And Soulkey's just got complete control of the map. This is completely backwards from where it would have been. Mini just faltering right when he had absolutely the best map control in the world, and not being able to close out this game. This is looking really rough for him right now. He can continue to build kind of the ultimate army. Honestly, at this point, if you just turtle and transition into an ultimate army with carriers or something like that, something crazy like that, you can still come back in this game. But these small counterattacks are just doing so much damage. It's amazing. Look at that Storm. What a god tier Storm. Kills 1 Hydralisk. Oh gosh. But Soulkey just getting so much work done with small groups of units. Mini is going to be going in for a big attack right now. This is a bit of a Hail Mary. He's hoping that he can bust this base. He's got a lot of Archons, as well as some Reavers and just tons of Gateway units. So let's see if he can break this third base. If he can't break this third base, though, it's going to be practically over. Continuing to just kind of push up here, loses an Archon. He's going to lose another Archon on the high ground, maybe even a third one on that ramp. And Lurker drops! Lurker drops. Beautiful stuff from Soulkey. Unfortunately loses that one. Bit of a mistake there. And at this point, Mini is mining off of one base. This is atrocious. This is so bad for Mini. Despite having such good control in the earlier parts of the game, he's taking a lot of damage from these Lurkers, but he is eventually going to be able to break through. More Lurkers coming in, but they're just going to sit on top of a Storm. That was not good from Soulkey, but he is getting lots of damage coming in, and these these Links that come in may be able to clean up eventually. There's definitely running out of Storms, definitely running out of Scarabs on those Reavers, so this isn't the end of the world for Soulkey. Even if he loses this base, it's not that bad for him because he's still mining out for 3 more. But he needs to make sure he doesn't lose too much of these drones. They're transferring right through all of the Archons, but the Archons don't attack him. All the Archons going down, so it's just going to be just that Hero Reaver, and that goes down as well. So Soulkey's cleaned this up. Soulkey's cleaned up the final big army of Mini, and I think this is going to be GG coming up very soon. Mini's got almost nothing left. He's got 1 mining base left, and Soulkey's just continuing to macro up. This is atrocious, and oh my gosh, even the drop being hunted down by these Scourge. So this is basically the end for Mini. Unfortunately, having such a strong lead earlier in the game, but lots of Zerg going to be streaming across the map right now and targeting this big base right here in the middle of the map. Zerg is such a weird base. This This happens in TVZ too, where Zerg is down by like 60 supply, but then they come back. It's super weird. But Soulkey just being really smart. He's going to kill off that Archon. He's wasted all the storms in this base. Even though he lost a lot of units there, these follow-up lings are probably going to be able to break this. And even more lurkers coming in. This is so nice. And just, it's looking rough. It's looking rough. Mini's trying to hold on the best that he can, but every single time he trades with Zerg, it's worse for him unless he just completely annihilates it. So this push is eventually going to be cleaned up, but there's only a Reaver left, and more units just flooding around the, across the map. More lings. There's the GG. Mini, despite having such a great lead in the early game, is going to fall to Soulkey in game 1. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm impressed. Soulkey! What a boss. What a boss. I'm really impressed by that game. Honestly, in the early mid portions of the game, I think Mini played that absolutely perfectly. Just the positioning was just god tier. It was honestly one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. But once he got up to those 5 bases, he just he stopped making cannons, he stopped playing defensively, and just found himself in a position where he couldn't close out the game because he didn't seem to have an idea of where to go once he got all of those bases. And at that point, I mean, as a Protoss player, as like a Terran mech player, all you have to do is just hold on to half the map. As long as you get half the map, all you have to do is hold on to it and just force the Zerg player to do something. This is the same position that mech players get into as well. As long as they get their half of the map, they could just honestly turtle with tanks and missile turrets and everything like that. And the onus is on the Zerg player to break the Terran and be able to stop those bases from actually mining. Because if it gets into a late game situation where both players have equal minerals and equal gas collected over the course of the game, the more cost-efficient armies are always going to win out. And when you have big maxed armies in as a Protoss or a Terran player, they're always going to be way more cost-efficient than the Zerg maxed army. So just Mini, I think, maybe getting a little overly aggressive and not dialing back his aggression, just taking it back, playing defensively when he should have. It's a bit unfortunate, but it's a big win for Team Soulkey. It looks like they're going to be going to game 2 with that lead. It's going to be nice.
저희도 이제 좀 해먹어야 돼서 같이 할래요? 아니 그게 아니라 철구 형이랑 저랑 또 나눠서 대회 열기로 했어요. 뭐 어떤 대회 열겠습니까? 리마스터 모기.
So
아프리카도 열지 않습니까?
Sorry, I'm just like I'm looking at Team Liquid right now. Let's see what people in the live report said. Oh shit, this is Gwynchi. This isn't Brittany. I was totally wrong. Oh, maybe it is Brittany. Somebody said it was Gwynchi. No, it's not Gwynchi. I don't know. I'm not gonna check on the name. I don't care. If anybody wants to verify that for me, is the co-caster Brittany? I think it's Brittany, but you guys can let me know in the chat. I don't have access to a whole bunch of resources right now, and I'm not gonna look it up. So. Just gonna continue to talk. Okay, thank you, chat, for letting me know it's Brittany. I just didn't want to look stupid when I was like, that looks like Brittany, but like I've never watched Brittany stream, so like I don't actually know what he looks like. You know, that guy who's like, oh yeah, I know that. Whoa, somebody got excited. Maybe they're sending out a very interesting player in game 2. If I were on team last, honestly, I feel like at this point you just send out last. No reason to hold last until the end. Just send out last, have them destroy Soulkey in a TVZ, and then you can go on to maybe a TBT. If you're unlucky, they'll send out Gwynchi, but like even then, Gwynchi. Wait, what am I saying? How could that be Gwynchi casting? Gwynchi's playing today. Gosh, you guys, I hate Team Liquid sometimes.
또
You guys. I
킬을 할 수, 3킬을 할 수
feel like I'm getting trolled by the live report thread.
이게 쓸데없이
But
김성현이
right now, it'd be smart to send out Last and just have him wreck everyone, because I think Last can take any of these matches except for maybe Light. But
네네네.
I mean, then again, Last TVT is one of the absolute best still. So
김민철 킬
that's a toss-up.
여기서 김민철이
I think either way, Last is definitely your best bet for sending out the next match.
정말로 전 한빛입니까? 웅진이거든요.
If they're stupid, they'll send out Shuttle. We'll see if they're stupid.
다방리그 시즌 1 때도 웅진 팀이 우승을 했거든요.
그렇죠. 웅진 팀 같은 경우에는 저력이 있어요.
그렇죠.
그 저력은 어디서 나오냐? 김민철.
Let's go back and read the chat. Let's see what's going on.
그럼 두 번째 경기 선제 스코어 세트 스코어 1대 0으로 김민철 팀이 앞서고 있는 가운데
Look towards the base. Is that what he said? I may have said look towards the base. I'm from the deep south, so sometimes my accent does get in the way. But we're gonna be jumping straight into game 2. We'll see who they send out for team Last. Is it? It's Last. It's Last, you guys. All right, so Last versus Soulkey. We're gonna have the TVZ god himself, the only person who can almost kind of compare to Flash. Let me put my face up. There we go.
김성현 팀 에이스.
Got it in the top right-hand corner in the white for Team Last. It is Last in the bottom right-hand corner in the green for Team Soulkey. It is Soulkey. So headlining names right here. We're not going to save the best for last. We're going to have it pretty early in game 2. So TVZ, this is going to be on Gladiator, I believe. This is the map. Yeah, Gladiator. I always have to check just in case I'm totally wrong. But Gladiator is one of those weird maps that has all these ridges in the center of the map. Doesn't quite make a lot of sense, but I always love seeing this in the TVZ matchup. Wow, they're so excited. Oh shit, wait, is he gonna be going for, oh, that was the 7 pool. So 7 pool coming out from Soulkey right now, and I think this is just gonna be a barracks at the front. So this could be disastrous for Last if Last isn't playing smart. Soulkey going again for the crazy cheese builds. This is pretty sick. The wall could be really strong if Last defends properly, but it's impossible to actually fully wall this off. And the problem that you have with going for a wall all the way out here is you actually find yourself in a situation where the Lings are going to be able to get on top of the barracks. They're not going to be right next to the SCVs mining. So there might be, actually, this is a 50-50. It could go either way depending on how Soulkey positions his Ling, how well Last defends. But Last might be, oh, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He missed the Overlord. Oh my god. He missed the Overlord, so Last is actually going to be scouting in the wrong direction. He doesn't know this is coming. This could definitely 100% kill him. Last is going to have to micro perfectly to deal with this. I love this play from Soulkey. Soulkey just pulling out the cheese, the snipe build against Last. This is so cool. So the first Marine is coming out. It is going to be on the outside of this wall, though, I think. So it is going to have to walk back. And the first Lings are going to show up right now. Last has got to pull SCVs immediately to actually deal with this. He's going to run that Marine away, but it's already getting surrounded by Lings. He's got to do this surround perfectly with his SCVs. He doesn't do it. The barracks is going to lift off again. Soulkey tries to be cute and put a Ling underneath it, but it's not going to happen. No Marines out. No Marines even building, and he's just got SCVs to defend against these Lings. It's not going to happen. This is so bad for Last right now. He's probably going to see in the Zerg base right now, his SCV is going to get there and be like, But this one Marine has to be a hero. I think the Marine is actually in a pretty safe place, but it doesn't even matter because Last doesn't have any buildings. He may try to like relocate down here, but more Marlings just pointing across the map. He's gonna have to lift off this SCV and maybe start over again in his natural. Honestly, that might be the better option at this point in time, but he's gonna lose both his Marines again. There's the GG. Soulkey is saving last. They should have sent out shuttle. They should have sent out shuttle. What a guy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh gosh. Les has got to be so tilted. He's got to be so tilted right now. Oh, you guys. Should have sent out your boy shuttle. Should have sent out your boy shuttle. I'm crying, you guys. Oh god. That was just like the perfect storm of problems for last. Oh gosh, they're in close positions. He goes for the barracks at his ramp, which is the closest to the Zerg base. Doesn't scout the Overlord, ends up scouting in the wrong direction. That's just like, it's the worst thing that could have ever happened for him. Oh man. I know we don't say that, like, we always say that, you know, RNG doesn't play a big role in this game, but it kind of did in that game. But at the same time, Soulkey just playing a really brilliant strategy. And the risk pays off going for that crazy early pull. Cannot believe that actually worked. Oh gosh. Even I'm tilted from that game. Oh god. Cerberus in Skype chat says, "Last can't believe that last game." No pun intended. So at this point, you send out Larva or Shuttle. You send out Larva if you want to lose 100%, because Larva ZVZ is pretty awful, especially since Soulkey is one of the better ZVZers. So send out Larva if you want to lose. If you want to maybe break even, you send out Shuttle. It's pretty brutal. Well, I take that back. So they are going to be going to Crossing Field for Game 3, and since it's such a big map with long rush distances, you can actually kind of skip over the really crazy Ling portions of the game, and even some of the early parts of the Muta mid game. So it's a little less volatile than usual, so you can definitely play a ZVZ on this map and play a more stable game, which is where Larva excels. Larva excels when he can play a stable game that relies heavily on just having units in the right places and macroing really well. But if it goes down to like very micro heavy, very difficult mechanical engagements, that's where Soulkey excels over Larva. But I think they'll probably send out Shuttle. It only makes sense to send out Shuttle. This is a very good Protoss map because you get the easy 3 bases, and then you can just kind of do a Doom push across the map and kill your opponent. We'll have to see what the plan is. I think sending out Shuttle would be the best decision right now. Shuttle's decent at long-term PVZs, but Soulkey's just on fire right now. He's definitely on the way to taking an all kill. We're gonna jump into Game 3 now. All right, jumping into the next game, maybe. Or, oh, they have the wrong screen. Come on, guys. Get your stuff together, yo. There it is. Yeah, hashtag production value. All right, we're going into set 3. Soulkey is en route to get that all kill. On the right side, in the teal, it is going to be Soulkey, and on the left side, sending out a very early probe is going to be Shuttle. So looks like we're actually going to be seeing a proxy gateway. Pretty sure that's what we're going to be seeing. Sorry, Eyewater. We're never going to call him Eyewater. I don't... Maybe it sounds like really cool in Korean. It's like Eyewata. But like it's not good in English. Eyewater is just like, what do you mean Eyewater? Like stuff is coming out of your face? Like what? But we're going to be seeing this proxy gateway going up. This is... I love it. Cheese the cheeser, man. Last probably messaged after that game. He's like, that guy just cheesed me. Cheese him back. I don't like him. We are going to be seeing the hatch first go down, and we're going to see basically last game, but wait. What? What? Are you kidding me? Is he going to scout this? Is he going to scout that? What the fuck? What the hell? What is... He can't even believe it. He's got his hand over his mouth. You guys can't see it because my face is in the way, but... Report Soulkey for map hacking. What the hell, guys? So Shuttle's going to have to transition into a bit of a normal build. But it's kind of rough with this opening. He's going to have to go for some sort of one-base play. You can see he's shaking his head. He knows this is like basically over. Soulkey plays perfectly. It's going to be so hard for, if Shuttle plays perfectly, then, if Soulkey plays perfectly, it's going to be impossible for Shuttle to actually take a natural, and actually get up to 3 bases at a reasonable time. So this is just a huge win for Soulkey so far. I cannot believe that he actually did that. That was insane. But he scouted that out immediately. And going for the gas immediately makes a lot of sense. We're so used to seeing 3 hatches coming out from Zerg players because we're used to seeing a pretty standard opening, but this is actually very brilliant to go ahead and go for that early. The probe goes down, and it's just this one Zealot. Try to be annoying. It is going to get behind the mineral line, so that's a nice little win for Shuttle at this point in time, but he's in pretty dire straits. These ults are just going to try to harass and buy as much time as possible, but eventually Soulkey is going to be able to get enough Zerglings out to actually kill off that pylon and slow down any sort of harassment. I still can't get over that scout. Like, oh my god. Lots of leans out right now. They're going to be able to kill off that pylon finally, and all the Zealots cleaned up. Meanwhile, back in Shuttle's base, he's just trying to get basic stuff up. He's actually going to have to make 3 Zealots to start to wall off his ramp, and that's honestly a really horrible position to be in. He doesn't even have a gas. He doesn't even have a cyber core at this point. This is pretty brutal. He is going to be taking the backdoor expansion, which is a nice feature of this map. I take it back earlier when I said that you can't take a natural. I forgot about the backdoor expansion. So Shuttle is going to be able to take that backdoor expansion, which is nice for now, but there's still definitely the chance that Soulkey can just bust up this ramp with a lot of lings, especially since there's absolutely no tech out right now for Shuttle. He's just relying on 3 Zealots to block the ramp. If any one of those Zealots falls, then the game is just straight up over. Excuse me. The random neutral egg is on this map. I believe it's just wide enough so that you can wall off the natural with Pylon Gate Forge. So, looks like Soulkey's actually going to be taking the macro route. He's taken his 3rd base at the backdoor area. And he's just going to be taking up to lair behind this. Really cute going for that gas steal, actually. So, that has actually put Shuttle back even further. He has no gas. His tech is going to be heavily delayed. And it's a really bad. What was that? What the heck did Brittany just do?
자, 이러면서 400점까지 말이에요. 찍고 있는
You guys didn't see it because my face is over it, but like Brittany started making a whole bunch of noise and just a hand comes over and smacks him in the face. It was pretty interesting. Pretty surprisingly good probe saturation here, considering all the events that have transpired, but without any pressure on Soulkey, it's going to allow him to drone up really heavily and get 3 bases really fast. And we'll see if he just goes straight into the Hydra-less pressure. Hydra-less pressure to me makes a lot of sense because you can just contain your opponent on this base forever. With just Hydra Link, you don't even need anything special. But Hydra Link forces your opponent to sit back and just avoid taking this third base for a very long time. Alternatively, he can go for the Mutalisk and use the Mutalisk to keep his opponent pinned back by harassing these middle lines, doing cool stuff to the main area, since that's has such a large area. It's hard to defend.
진짜 미래가 없는 사람이에요. 왜 그렇죠? 아니 왜 미래가 없죠? 커세가
Sorry, had to cough. So I would say that Shuttle, Umba, I would say that Shuttle is 100% dead. But anytime anyone's ever dead in this game, it means they're actually alive. So apparently he's gonna be just fine. Apparently Soulkey's just gonna die later on. I don't know. The game is surprisingly is going kind of surprisingly even, but Soulkey has such a huge economic edge that it's going to translate into a much stronger mid to late game. And unless Shuttle manages to get some substantial damage done to the economy or accidentally just kills off an entire army of Soulkey for free, it's going to be difficult for him to actually find a way back into the game. If Soulkey plays perfectly, it's a 100% win for him. Hey, Agidos would Z3 and P10 mean at the top of the screen? That's their positioning. So Z is Zerg, it means Zerg is in the 3 o'clock position, and P it means P10 means Protoss in the 10 o'clock position. Pretty straightforward. That's how they've been doing it ever since Kesma days. Even if you go back and watch old VODs, it shows you. So very easy to understand once you know the tablature. So first couple of Scourge out, just scouting out around Shuttle's base, seeing what's going on. Soulkey's so confident he's even taking a 4th base. And that's exactly what I mean. There's no pressure for the Protoss at all behind this. Soulkey's able to do literally whatever he wants. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he just fast-teched up to Hive on the back of these Mutalisks even. So, just trying to build up here. Honestly, not a lot going on. This is like a pretty standard PvZ, except for the Protoss is like way behind. The nice thing about this map, though, is you do get to take the 3rd base without any huge significant risk compared to other maps. Other maps, you usually have to have a good amount of AoE out at this point, as well as plenty of gateway units to actually take a 3rd. But in this particular case, Shuttle's actually going to be able to take it with almost nothing. This is a bit of a risk on his part just because he doesn't know what his opponent has, and he's just got a couple zealots. But, I mean, at this point, he has to take the risk. He has to see if he can get back into the game with this. But tons of Mutalisks, tons of Scourge coming across the map. Looks like Soulkey is going to try to pick off as much as he can and just straight up win the game at this point. And there's only a couple of Corsairs. That's all the AA here. But, oh, actually, never mind. An Archon gets in here just in time. And that's going to push that back for now. But if Soulkey plays it smart, he's going to be able to push this Archon back and forth between the natural in between this backdoor base as well. And meanwhile, he's just continuing to zone with the Scourge. And all of the probes are going to die to this base unless he pulls them. Luckily, he does in time. Soulkey not being very committal with this, despite his really strong economy. Soulkey really just wants to keep his opponent pinned back and focus on upgrades, which is a bit surprising to see from him. He definitely has the chance to just straight up kill his opponent, but maybe he doesn't. He's not used to seeing himself in this much of a lead. Not really sure how to deal with it. But the Mutalisks are just going to keep flying around the map, keep patrolling, seeing what's going on. And DT did sneak down here to try to do some damage, but looks like it got cleaned up after only killing one drone, so not super high value from Shuttle. Shuttle's just, he's in a lot of trouble. Another cannon is going to go down, and there is a nice number of these Corsairs right now, but that was a pretty good flank. But all of the Scourge go down there, only killing off, I believe, one Corsair. So very nice for Shuttle at this point in time. He's being able to regain his map control. Soulkey does have quite a few Hydras, though. This may have been a mistake to push in here this aggressively. Normally at this point in the game, your opponent has like maybe a dozen Hydras, but when they have like 2 to 3 dozen plus Mutalisks, then it's not such a great idea to go in there. Are you guys making fun of me for saying people are 100% dead? I don't think that's very nice. I'm crying. Just kidding. Some more coffee to wake me up, because this game is Resident Sleeper. No, this game isn't Resident Sleeper. It's a lot less close, because Soulkey should just be able to annihilate his opponent. And no Storm yet, so we're relying entirely on cannons and this Zealot Archon against this Hydra attack. I don't think these Templar have Storm yet, and here comes the attack. Shuttle's going to try to push it back right now and maybe feign having Storm, but Soulkey's not going to be fooled. He's going to kill off all the Zealots and be able to maybe even pick off this Archon as well. He's focus firing it. There goes the Archon, and everything at the front has been deleted. Even these cannons going down, and there's the Storm finally. That was a pretty good Storm. It was definitely not a mini Storm, but it was a pretty good Storm. And the DT's coming out. There's the GG from Shuttle. I'm trying so hard to come back in that game, but man, Soulkey's scouting that proxy like a boss. Oh my god, what a god. Everyone bow down to your user god. I've never seen anything like that, except for from Flash. Flash does that sort of thing all the time, but Soulkey, super epic, man. Oh gosh. So we are going to be going on to that final match. I say final match because I think Soulkey's going to win, but there is still a chance for Larva to go God mode. So let me tell you the story about Larva. Larva was a B-teamer who had kind of decent to bad results in games. He wasn't really all that great during the Kespa era. And the post-Kespa era, he wasn't necessarily that good either. There were a lot of other better Zerg players that were overshadowing players like Killer, players like Effort, etc. And Larva just was kind of pushed to the side as not a very good player. But in the past several months, Larva has been grinding non-stop, playing against... he's well known for playing, smashing his head up against the wall against Last and Flesh over and over and over. Plays against Bisu quite a lot as well. So he's been playing against the best players a lot. And it's really shown. His skill level has gone way up. And in terms of efficiency, I think he's actually the most efficient Zerg player right now in online play. And when he gets to the live stage, he really sucks. But as far as online play goes, Larva is an absolute monster. ZVZ is his weakest, but if he can beat Soulkey, there's a very good chance that he can actually all-kill the rest of Team Soulkey. Piano Light both turns. Larva's very good at ZVT, and Gwimchi, one of the weaker Protosses. While Larva isn't as great at ZVP, he can definitely beat Gwimchi. So really, it's just the hurdle of Larva getting over Soulkey. If he can beat Soulkey, then he can go through the rest of the team. There's a very good chance for a reverse all kill. But Soulkey's been on fire this match, so I'm not really sure that can happen, especially in Larva's weakest matchup. But man, just imagine. Imagine if Larva gets the reverse all kill. That's like the storyline you live and die for, right? You know, the guy who's outcast is, you know, not a very good Zerg player, not all that awesome, and then suddenly becomes a super major god and reverse all kills, etc. Pretty sick.
자, 알겠습니다. 현재 3대 0으로 김민철이 올킬까지 한 판 남았고요.
I need a little bit more coffee, you guys.
그럼 진짜 영웅이 됩니다.
제가 봤을 때는 솔직히 말해서 이몽규가 좀 보여줬으면 좋겠어요.
Cerberus asked in the chat why I'm so happy. I am. I think it's hilarious when stuff gets scattered immediately. This is my. I'm giddy today. I guess maybe it's the caffeine.
여기서 여울킬을 하면요 신이 되는 거고 진짜 신이 되는 겁니다. 김민철이 올킬을 하면 영웅이 되는 거거든요.
그리고 이몽규가 다른 프로게이머들은 다 인정하는데 철구 공주님.
So I'm sure what they're saying right now is that Soulkey is a god, but what if Larva is more godder? If you just look at the camera and believe in Larva, he can win. That's an actual translation from Google Translate. Looks like we're going to be going into the next game, Game 4, see if Soulkey can get the all kill. I hope you guys saw that thumbs down from Soulkey during the transition video. That's what he thinks of Larva right now. So we are going to be having Game 4, a ZVZ on Uzi Sara. Looking forward to having seeing if Larva can actually come back in the series and get the reverse all kill, or if Soulkey is going to continue to be an absolute god. And I know they're not going to use nice colors, so I'm just going to have to actually look up what these players' names are because I don't know. Team Soulkey. On, I got this, guys. I got this, guys. Don't look things up for me. I got this. I got this. Kim Min-chul. Oh, I should have known that. I know Soulkey's name. So Kim Min-chul is the yellow Zerg. So Soulkey's going to be in the bottom left-hand corner in the 7 o'clock position. And up in the 3 o'clock position in the red is going to be Larva. Very easy to remember. Soulkey's in the yellow chair. He's yellow. Larva has yellow hair. He's red. Very easy to remember. So we are going to be having the gas first coming out from Larva, which says that he's going to be going for a very aggressive build coming out. Soulkey, meanwhile, going for a bit more of a defensive standard build. He's not going to be going for any kind of super early aggression. It's just a very balanced build. The spawning pool feels really late, though. I could be wrong, but that's like a very late spawning pool for how early you actually get that gas. Maybe he's going to be going specifically for a timing later on with a natural expansion or something weird like that. I don't think I've ever seen a build that has that late of a pool, but still a fairly early pool coming out from Soulkey. He's definitely going to have lots of lings out early on that is going to be really annoying to deal with. But I wonder if this looks like it is just going to be a straight tech up to lair for Larva. He's actually not going to play the 2-base ling game. He's just going to go straight to lair with a couple of lings. So we're going to see Mutabilis play very early on. Lots of intense micro that's going to be going on in this beginning. 6 lings going across the map. It gets scouted by Larva, so he knows this is coming. The first 4 lings are spawning, so not too bad for Larva. He's going to have enough units to hold this off right now. He's going to make a good concave on this ramp, but he's got to make it quick before his opponent actually gets up there. And it gets a couple of free hits. That's really nice for Larva, so very well played so far. And just this dance of lings is going to continue. This is going to be very obnoxious. for Soulkey to actually break up this ramp, especially now that this really nice concave has been formed. But Soulkey's going to go for it. He's going to try to break up in here. I think he really wants to find out what his opponent is doing, what tech is going on. Even if he gets a single Ling up here, it's definitely good for him. But losing a lot of Lings in the process, and Larva being really smart. He's continuing to make Lings. He's not going to cut for drones. And off the back of that, Soulkey knows that he definitely has to go for the Mutalisk too, knowing that Mutalisk will come out eventually as well. Both players just continuing to make tons and tons of Lings and continue this dance on the ramp. I don't see Soulkey ever actually breaking up, but he actually does manage to get up into the main, so he's going to be able to scout this going on. He's not going to be too surprised because this is, you know, what you do. Like, you're not going to go for like a surprise like Hydralisk Den in this matchup or anything like that. So he's not going to be too surprised at what's going on, but it's nice to know what is going on in your opponent's base. You know how many drones they have, etc. And both players going for that Spire right now. Usually the player that gets the Spire first is actually going to be making a couple of Scourge so that you can actually run across the map and snipe your opponent's first Mutalisk. It's a very nice way to just maximize the value of having that earlier Spire and that earlier tech over your opponent. So let's see what the plan is, but both players on very low drone counts, very high numbers of Lings, and Larva's actually got a small little counterattack set up when his opponent moves across the map with all these Lings. But Soulkey being really smart, he's actually leaving a handful of Lings back at home, expecting this counterattack as well. This isn't the best arc on the ramp for Larva, but he is going to be able to kill off any Lings that try to get up here. And this has been the bane of his existence. He tries to go for the counterattack, but Soulkey's already ready for that, so that's going to be pushed back. And we should see the first couple of Mutalisks coming out pretty soon. Larva does get 2 Lings into the main of Soulkey, so those are going to be really annoying, but not microing them very well. The longer, if you can keep those Lings alive for a long time, it allows you to do so much, but it's so APM intensive, it's very difficult to actually do. But first couple of Mutalisks are going to come out and push this back. He's actually going for the Flyer attacks instead of Flyer Carapace, so pretty interesting. I think generally speaking in Brood War, both of the upgrades for Mutalisks are about even. The attack upgrade being a little bit more inexpensive. StarCraft 2, I know you definitely go for the Air Carapace first, but in StarCraft 1, I believe they're about even. You guys can let me know. But this is going to be a very intense game, lots of small little micro wars where both players are trying to get ahead. And Soulkey actually building a pair of Scourge just to prevent any sort of early attacks coming out from Larva. I'm really surprised that Larva didn't go for the early pair of Scourge. Usually you can get ahead in the Muta count early on if you get very aggressive with that, but looks like he's just going to be playing it safe. Like I said, Larva is one of those players who always does better when he's allowed to macro up, play it safe, and play a more balanced style rather than trying to play the huge mechanical micro war against his opponent. So more and more Mutalisks coming out. Interesting style. Larva's actually going to attack with his Lings while defending with his Mutas. This is a very different style than we normally see. Usually you kind of split it up, or you send like a couple Lings out to scout while like moving around with your Mutalisks. But these Mutalisks are 100% committed to defense, and it looks like Larva may just be waiting for that +1 upgrade to finish so he can be aggressive. And really nice micro on those Lings. Manages to trade pretty cost efficiently with Soulkey as well. Hey XXX, I used to play StarCraft 2, so whenever I talk about things, it's usually in reference to StarCraft 2. But Soulkey actually getting very aggressive with his Mutalisks right now. Looks like he might be actually trying to go for a big attack here, but +1 is going to be finishing fairly soon for Larva. He needs to be really careful about how he micros against these Scourge. And really nice play so far. There come the flanking Scourge. They're not going to find their targets. And Larva playing really nicely. He sniped all the Scourge. He's actually going to be able to push this back. Soulkey's going to have to split his Mutalisk up pretty soon because Larva getting quite ahead right now. He's +1 is going to be finishing up pretty soon. He's going to be able to trade significantly better. That snipe on the Overlord was pretty big, but even more Scourge coming in right now. Soulkey saying, I know I can beat you as long as I micro better than you. But +1 is finished for Larva right now. And there's the GG. Soulkey just going all in on that. And Larva's done it. He's beaten Soulkey. And the reverse all kill starts here. Oh. Impressed by Larva. It's a very... Oh, you know what? I didn't have my face up the entire time. That was solid. That was solid. You guys didn't tell me my face wasn't there. Yeah, I'm really surprised. I don't know why players do this. Maybe I just don't understand ZVZ as a matchup very well, but there's so many times where I see players that don't have an advantage just go for this Muta Scourge all in, and it doesn't really make sense to me because you can't just, if you don't have an advantage, you could just hang back, chill out, and just like take your expansion. But I don't know, maybe in that particular situation, Soulkey felt under pressure. Larva was had the upgrades on the way. He suspected he had the advantage in Mutalisk, and he was already taking that natural as well. So maybe Soulkey just felt under pressure to make something happen. But either way, that was a little bit unfortunate for him. Larva just going for a more innovative build than we've seen in a while. And I think that's actually also very smart on Uzisara in particular, since the natural is separated by that weird little ramp. It's hard to defend with just pure Lings. It's very easy to split Lings up into both of those bases, so it makes a lot of sense to go for that one base build. Really smart from Larva, just having all the right units in the right places at the right times and getting that upgrade out. Sick stuff. The only way that you can figure out the number of mutas is literally by guessing, by counting time plus plus larva counts. So like if you know you can make estimations based off of, oh, my opponent has like 6 more Lings than me, therefore I probably have at least 2 more mutas than him. Stuff like that. You can figure out small things based on where money goes, where larva is spent. That's why scouting drone counts is really important in this matchup as well. Every once in a while you'll see Zerg players, one player will sneak in a Ling just to run by and count the drones in the mineral line. And if you count, you know, if there were 7 before and now there's 8, you know, oh, hey, he spent a larva on a drone, so now he probably has 1 less Mutalisk than I do. And all of those little things kind of add up, and you can guess based on how many Mutals you kill off as well. But either way, like, in that situation, Mutalisk battles are very difficult to actually pull off unless you actually have either like a very superior mechanical ability, or if you know you're way ahead of your opponent in terms of the muta count. Crimson in the chat, Larva times time minus kill minus fucked up your macro. That's a very good formula for it. That basically sums up everything I just said.
몬테크리스토 일단 토스가 좋은 맵이거든요. 아까 전에 맵 분석을 해달라고 해서 제가 맵 분석 잠시 하고 가도록 하겠습니다.
I mean, we do have the small advantage of having omniscience. Like we can see everything that's happening on the map. Obviously, from one player's perspective, it's a lot harder to know if you have advantages or not. And you're definitely playing the guessing game a lot more than you would compared to us observers who can see everything that's happening on the map, exactly how many Lings are running around, etc. So it's understandable that some players miscalculate the muta numbers from time to time, but still, might as well just hang back. Just go for Hive. Just go for Hive, guys. Always go for Hive. I just want to see Hive tech ZVZ. Hive tech ZVZ is so cool. I don't think I've ever actually seen it live, so I'd really like to actually see it and see how epic it actually can be. I don't even know really what the tech path really is. I think you go straight into Defiler for Plague, and then if you manage to stabilize enough and get 3 bases, you go into Ultras, but Doesn't matter. We're going to be going into Game 5 now. All right, let's see who they sent out. Mu Mong, which I believe is Gwimchi. It is indeed. It is going to be Gwimchi. So this is kind of what we expect. That's kind of what I expected earlier when I said if you send out a Terran player, Larva's probably going to destroy him. But Gwimchi might be able to snipe him. I'm not sure if he's necessarily that strong in this matchup or gonna be able to kill his opponent as well, but we'll see. What is going on? What is this? What? I don't know what they're talking about. You can move your units across the map and kill your opponent that way. There's 2 circles there. I believe those are eggs. What they just circled. I believe those are eggs to allow you to wall off properly. But eventually we'll get into the game. Alright, so we are going to be having the Forge Fast Expand going out for Gwimchi. Like I said, Larva isn't as spectacular at this matchup, but it's still a pretty strong matchup for him overall. I wouldn't be surprised to see Larva pull out some really strong Beautilist play on this map. This map is circular, so there's a lot of room for counterattacks. There's a lot of room for just being able to run around your opponent and prevent them from ever actually taking a lead. And we talked a little bit about how mutiling is becoming a little bit more standard comparatively. And, ooh, is this a sneaky drone? It is a sneaky drone. It's gonna get caught though, so we're just gonna have the 12 pool go down. Looks like, or the 11 pool. That's super annoying, but I think they're overreacting, the Korean casters. Like, that's super annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Just make a spawning pool and go into what you normally would go into. It's not a huge deal. You can take your third base or your natural somewhere else. But actually, he's just... It's pretty interesting. Larva is refusing to make a spawning pool. He's actually just going to go for the triple hatch before pool. And this actually makes a lot of sense because he has an inkling that his opponent is going to be going for that Nexus first. So he very smartly just decides to not build the pool. And Gwimchi cancels the pylon. And actually, this is a pretty even opening for both players, all things considered. And wow, Larva picks off that drone, or sorry, that probe with the drone. Really nicely played. I'm sorry, guys, for all of the... I'm sorry, guys, if I'm making mistakes in my words today. I don't know why, but for some reason I'm just like forgetting the names of things, and so I'm replacing it with random words that have nothing to do with them. But Nexus into Gateway means this is going to be a very aggressive build coming out from Gwimchi. He's going to get his tech out really early, and there's no way that Larva can actually put on any pressure until a little bit later in the game. I'd actually like to see a speed first opening from Larva. He could definitely go for speed first and break this front wall if he does it correctly, especially if Gwimchi gets really greedy and just forgoes a Forge altogether. But we'll have to see what the plan is. More and more damage going down onto these probes. Larva's just really on top of his micro today. Doing very well with this drone micro. First gas is coming out right now. We're up at about 60. Once we get to 100, that's going to be the big point. Are we going to be going for speed, or are we just going to be going standard for the lair? Meanwhile, Gwimchi still hasn't really spent money on his tech. There's the Stargate, and he is going to be getting the Forge, so not going to be playing too greedy there. It's nice to see. And I think we do see the speed coming out first. So speed first coming out from Larva. He's going to be getting very aggressive coming out pretty soon. And a Hydra Den. Ooh. We're going to be going for 3 Hatch Hydra, boys. This is going to be a dedicated push, and this is actually really smart, knowing that his opponent went for a bit of a greedier. Oh, that probe almost jumped out of position and let him get in there. Actually, one probe is going to be going down, but Larva's going to pull back before he loses too much to this. Oh, is he actually going to get a Ling in? Wow, he actually got a Ling into his opponent's main. So Larva's going to have full information for a little while, and he's just going to be annoying with this Ling and force at least one Zealot back to deal with it. And that's going to make this follow-up push much, much stronger. As long as he keeps that Ling alive and keeps that Zealot busy. Meanwhile, Scouting Zealot's going to come in right now. If Larva doesn't actually kill this off, this 3-hatch Hydra play could be completely stopped right now. But this is really good micro from both players right now. Just trying to get damage wherever possible. But eventually that Zealot is going to be going down. And Larva playing really, really well with his micro. Larva's micro is super good in this game. We're getting the speed upgrade for the Hydras now. It looks like Larva is going to be going to the Hydras now as well, now that speed is almost finished. There's different schools of thought with the way that you do this. Oh, there's a lag. There's a lag. Gwimchi lags out. Larva wins. All right, we're going to the reverse all kill. Just kidding, you guys. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm sure they'd restart the match if it did. Maybe. Dude, if we get a disconnect win, I'm so super excited. Oh no, they're gonna be restarting from the replay if they need to. They might be restarting from replay. Looks like they're gonna, okay. They're just gonna regularly play. Oh, Lings, get in! They're gonna be able to kill off this cannon for free, maybe. Oh, this is gonna be so close. It's gonna be so close. Oh, one more Ling runs in. Doesn't quite kill it off. Wow, one more hit away from dying. That was very explosive all of a sudden, but still, that is very, very weak cannon. And with these Hydralisks coming out right now, there's a very good possibility that that cannon goes down and everything in Gwimchi's base goes away. So the first 6 Hydras are on the way, and there's nothing to really stop this right now. We'll have to see if he actually goes all the way in with this. Good micro so far from Larva. He does lose one of those Hydras, which is a bit unfortunate. And a couple of Zealots coming in here for the counterattack, but Larva doing a really good job of microing on both fronts right now, not losing too many of these Hydralisks. He does lose one of his Overlords, but Gwimchi, he needs to not lose that Corsair. The cannon on the high ground gets sniped, and lots of probes going down right now. The probes are going to be able to hold for a little while, but where are the units for Gwimchi? Gwimchi has no units, and with all these probes going down, this is horrible for him. This this one drone really hates his hatchery, apparently. There goes the second cannon going down, and more probes going down. This is so bad for Gwimchi right now. He's pretty much 100% dead to this follow-up push. More and more Hydras pouring across the map right now. Unless there's a DT out right now, this very second, this is basically going to get cleaned up. There it is. There's the GG. Gwimchi just not holding up under the pressure of this early build. And that almost snipe on that cannon really did a lot. Larva playing really, really smartly in this game. And we might be done with ZVPs for today. Finally, we're done with ZVPs. Is 100% dead like a meme now? Is that the esports John meme? I'll make it I'll make an emoticon with 100% dead in my face. How's that sound? Turn it off. Bam, got it. All right, so we are on the way to a reverse all kill. It looks super, super over after Soulkey managed to completely wreck last. But Larva is turning it around and starting to play really, really well. I think we're now heading into Larva's best matchup by far, ZVT. I don't know what his win rate is. Last time I checked, against people who weren't Flash, Last, and Bisu, I think his win rate is something like 70 to 80% in this matchup. Like, it's really, really high. I could be wrong on that. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but he's really good at this matchup. Larva's really good at this matchup. We're in for a treat, unless he just gets cheesed out. Like he gets bunker rushed by light or something and loses. But no, we're not at the ace match quite yet. There's still 2 more players for Team Soulkey, Piano and Light. If you remember correctly, Light all killed Team Shine in week 1. So definitely very strong player right now, and I think TVZ is probably Light's strongest matchup. Piano a little bit less dangerous, but I believe Piano is also a TVZ specialist. So both very good TVZ players, but against Larva, man, Larva's CVT is so good. I'm gonna hype it up, and then he's gonna fail miserably, but I'm gonna hype it up anyway, man. Like Larva's ZVT, that's what's up. Alrighty, righty. It looks like they're gonna send out Piano, also known as Oregon open bracket, open bracket, open bracket, open bracket, open bracket. Everyone knows that guy. So it is 3-2. Larva has to get through both Piano and Light. See if he can get through Piano first. In the top left, in the red, it is gonna be Piano. That's sorry, in the yellow now. He's in the yellow. The yellow is going to be Piano. And on the bottom right, our Zerg player, our hero in the red, it is going to be Larva. Now, Salamander is a very interesting map. There's lots of the middle of the map is very open. You see, it's very open. It's dominated by these small ramps. So for the most part, I think this is actually a very Zerg favored map. There's still plenty of places where Mutalisk can do some damage based on like these high ground areas and these small little cliffs that are in the center of the map. So it's a very strong map for Zerg because the middle of the map is both open and yet still has enough places for Mutalisk to micro around. But if Terran can get entrenched in the proper places, it can be very difficult to dislodge them. Third bases are quite easy to get, but the mains are gigantic. They're huge, so drops are very strong as well. And we may see Piano go for more of an SK style to abuse that large area. But he may not. He may decide to go for more of a traditional thing. It looks like we actually had a 9 pool coming out from Larva. So, a bit more of an aggressive play from Larva. This isn't going to outright win the game, but it does punish any sort of greedy play if his opponent goes for a CC first. This is a large map. It makes sense to go for something crazy like a CC first. But he is actually going to be scouting cross map with this first round. Very smart play to go for the cross map scout and rely on the cross map scout plus the Overlord to get information. And Piano's probably going to have to pull a couple of SCVs, put them on the ramp to deal with this if he sees it coming. He's going to see the drone coming in right now. We'll see if he realizes that was a cross map scout or if he thinks it came from the bottom side. He appears to be going for bottom right, so he knows where this is coming from. Expansion coming down for Larva right now, and 6 Lings headed across the map. You'll be scouted by the SCV, so this is very clear that this is coming. A couple of SCVs are probably going to have to be pulled up to the ramp, and these Marines consolidated. Here we go. There's all of them SCVs. An interesting play to go for the double barracks there. That's mostly just a purely defensive play. You don't know if your opponent is going for the expansion. Yeah, wow, and one of those SCVs going down already. 2 going down, maybe even a third. A third one going down, and one of the Marines as well. So pretty good value on these, on those Lings for sure. They definitely got some good value slowing down the economy of his opponent, but still, it's 6 Lings, and that's all the map control that Zerg has. So at this point in the game, Larva is a bit on the back foot. He has to play a little bit more defensively because his opponent will have that aggression available to him. Even just a 5 or 6 Marine poke across the map has to be, you have to make either Lings or put down a Sunken to defend against that. It can be a bit annoying, especially because it messes up your droning. But CC coming down now for Piano. He's going to be heading into that expansion. We'll see. He should be getting his gas pretty soon and going into Medic Marine to push across the map. There's a small timing that he can do now because Larva's put himself so far behind with that early pull. But at the same time, it's going to be difficult for him to get any lasting damage. And there's that creep colony I was talking about. If your opponent can push out across the map, you just have to get that early Sunken to deal with any kind of early Marine pokes. Behind that, Larva's just going to be droning up really heavily, trying to get as many drones up there as possible while he takes up the lair and gets the Mulus out. I'd be very surprised to see Larva go for lurkers in this situation. Larva's been the type of player that always prefers going for going towards more of the Mulus favored play, more so than lurker contains and things like that. So I think we'll probably see the Mulus come out. If not, it would surprise me a little bit. You know, my face hasn't been up here at all. So there we go. We got it. We got it. We nailed it. I started off so strong. Hi, Dr. Nameless. I actually don't have a beard. This is beardless. This is not a mullet. This is actually the opposite of a mullet. You guys, I live in the South. I know what a mullet is. This is not a mullet. This is just what we call long hair. So, Engineering Bay going down. That's a bit surprising. Actually, never mind. That's actually normal timing for Engineering Bay. Ignore me. Stem coming out. It's a little bit late, it feels like. Feels like definitely could have come out a little bit earlier. But first 2 medics are out, and this is pretty much usually go time for the Terran player to go ahead and push out across the map. Behind this, Larva just continued to drone up really heavily, and you see the Spire isn't even close to completing yet. He's going to have to rely on a few more Sunkens to deal with this. This is definitely a little bit further behind than you would like to be as a Zerg player, but a smart Ling run by could cause a lot of problems. Right now, Larva's threatening that, but you know, it's too smart. He's leaving a couple units at home to deal with that, including 2 of these Fire Bats, which is very nice. These things are going to try to get out here on top of those Marines. Not going to be able to. Might be able to kill off this. Wow, really good micro from Piano. That was really impressive, but lots of stim packs spent to try to kill off those Lings, and not really that successful at doing it so far. These things are just going to continue to dance around the main and be annoying. And this is actually amazing. This has drawn all of Piano's stuff back at home. He actually picks off an SCV. Wow, that was impressive. He might actually kill off another Marine. No, not quite. So that's actually a huge win for Larva. He's going to be able to get his Mulus out right now. You see he's gone really heavy on the Sunken colonies over there in his natural. And that's going to allow him to be much more aggressive with his Mulus early on. Normally, if you only have 3, it can be a little bit troublesome for your opponent. And interestingly enough, with that harassment, he's actually forced his opponent to have later than normal turrets as well. So he's actually going to be able to pick off a couple of SCVs before these turrets finish. It's a very nice play overall from Larva, doing a really good job of finding his advantages in this game. And Light actually maybe over making turrets. This is kind of interesting to make 4 turrets per base. Usually just 2, and relying on your Marine macro and just having units in the right position. But it's surprising to see that there. That one Firebat's going to deny that base for a little while, which is really annoying. But Larva doing a really good job of keeping his opponent pinned back and buying enough time for him to get all the necessary tech that he needs. Right now he's probably on his way toward Hive, at least having the Queen's Nest down. Now that he's got all these Mulus out. And just trying to find an opening in here to get some damage done. He is going to find SCV building the starport. That's going to slow down Science Vessels considerably. But he's actually going to get his Mulus a little bit trapped in there. Very nice job to get out of there alive, even picking off a few units in the process. And sending these Hydras over here, they're going to be ready to morph into lurkers immediately as soon as that third base goes down. And the Mutalisk count is a little bit low for Larva. Usually you want to stick around 10 to 11, but we're actually kind of a low Mutalisk count right now. Okay, never mind. There's an extra one. We're good. So Zerg Hive coming out now. And this has been really impressive. Just the amount of pressure that Larva is putting on the space with just Mutalisks is really, really impressive. The fact that he can keep his opponent pinned back like this, this isn't something we see all that often, but Larva is one of the few players who can actually do this. Most other Zerg players right now just get run over by Bio, but Larva's just his decision making and the way that he moves his Mutalisks allows him to get a lot more damage done than a lot of other players at this moment in time. Even Jaedong has trouble really preventing the Bio Ball from getting out of hand, but Larva just being very smart. Oh, kind of messes up the Mutalisk micro right there. Lots of links coming across the map right now, and he may try to just destroy this first push as it's moving across the map. Oh, are those hold position lurkers? Those are probably hold position lurkers. And this is so smart, just flying over here with his Mutalisk being maybe even a little bit over aggressive. Wow, he actually killed off that supply depot as well. And being overly aggressive with these Mutalisks and forcing his opponent to get out of position. And again, this is keeping his opponent so pinned back, so much so that he's Piano's actually sending a couple of units over there to flank, but it's not going to work. And all of this goes to show that it's Larva trying to bait his opponent into kind of going into a frontal assault, like, hey, I got Mutalisks in your base, but Piano's just so focused on defending that he hasn't even thought about moving out across the map. And even Lee's coming in here to aid the Mutalisks. This is very aggressive from Larva, but very smart. He's going to miss the drop moving out right now. And this drop is going to go down here, but the Nidus Canal is already up. If the Nidus Canal is complete as natural, he can easily reinforce and take this down. But the Mutalisks, they're actually going to come down. He did see the drop coming out, so he is going to be able to hold this off. This is so nice from Larva right now. Oh my gosh, how is he this good? So they're going to try to snipe. They're going to try to snipe the Nidus Canal. That's so annoying, but with Lurkers and the Mutalisks here, this is going to be an easy cleanup. Meanwhile, Piano moving across the map. He's going to try to snipe this third base after he kills off that Nidus Canal. It's much harder to actually stop this, but even with Mutalisks and a couple of Lings moving across the map right now, he's going to be able to hold the ramp for long enough to get his Defilers and get a Nidus Canal back up. So I don't think this is the end of the world, but another drop coming in. Wow, this is so surprising. Usually we almost always see Terran go for the Science Vessels first, but instead going for the drop play and just being very aggressive. And it's going to fly right into the Mutalisks. This is so good. Great positioning on those Mutalisks. And he's going to be able to chase this down, maybe not be able to kill it entirely, but damage it enough. Wow, he is actually going to be able to kill it. So big win right there. The first couple of tanks are here, but there's the Dark Swarm, and tries to snipe the Science Vessel, but it's not going to happen quite yet. In the meantime, just a couple more seconds going down and going to try to reinforce the space as much as possible. But at this point in time, Larva is doing a really good job. He's got his third base up. He's got his Defilers up. He's going to be able to reinforce the space. So this isn't really all that bad for him. These tanks not really paying attention, being in a bad spot. And first Irradiate is out. It's going to try to get onto this Defiler. A little bit annoying, but another Defiler is on the way, so not the end of the world. Third base going down for Piano. And this is the constant push and pull of this map, of this matchup, is once you get to this point in the game where Zerg finally has a third base, then it's just a constant question of, can I siege my opponent down? Can I do enough damage? And once Terran finally, either Terran breaks the space and just outright wins the game, or eventually gets pushed back with good swarms, good Ling movement, etc., etc. And once that happens, then Terran's forced to switch into mech. Probably going to see a mech switch coming out fairly soon. So finally being pushed back, and Larva just playing this all out very immaculately. Probably fourth base coming out pretty soon for him as well. And likely, oh, just walking a whole bunch of bio into a bunch of lurkers. That's super unfortunate. So Piano losing all of his map pressure right now. XXX says he needs to rebuild mutas. I don't think that's necessarily true. You don't need mutas until a lot of mines start going down. In that case, I think it's really good to build 4 to 5 mutas with speed overlords and just kind of patrol around the map. But at this point in the game, you want to spend all of your gas on lurkers and defilers. Make sure you don't get pushed down in this particular spot. Make sure you can push your opponent back. Even a couple Scourges are really strong. But he's already got the magic Mulus number over there. And once we start seeing more of those vultures, then maybe that'll change. But actually Piano going into the fire bat, so that to me signals that he wants to get very aggressive coming out pretty soon. He's going to re-macro an army and try to go for a big attack into the natural of the third. Hasn't started that mech switch quite yet. We haven't seen any vultures out on the map. So we could definitely still see a big pressure play coming out for science vessels coming out with lots and lots of energy. But oh my god, that is so many of those lurkers. Those aren't going to be pushed back anytime soon. And Piano's actually just going to have to give this out. Oh, is he going to snipe the science vessel? Is he going to snipe it? There goes the science vessel. Okay, so that's a nice little win. And wow, this is actually tons of racks. This is quite surprising. So we are going to be seeing that SK Terran style. We're just making tons and tons of units, drop ships, and science vessels and trying to push across the map. But man, Larva is just so prepared for any drops that might come into his main, any drops that might come into his third base as well. So this is very well played so far, and he's got the perfect defense at that fourth. Another big push coming across the map right now. There are a ton of bio units in here, and even some firebats. Firebats do very well against these lings underneath Dark Swarms. Larva needs to make sure he doesn't get complacent about replacing all of those defilers. Make sure he always has a defiler in his natural and his fourth base. As long as he has that, he'll be in good shape while he's getting this fourth base up, and then he can just continually pump out units afterwards. This is tense, but honestly, I think at this point, Larva's defended. You can see on his face, he's really calm and collected, not super worried about what's going to be coming up in the future. And these Mulus are going to come over here, maybe snipe a couple units. Only firebats. Really smart from Larva to realize that there's only 1 or 2 Marines that are easy to clean that up with a couple of mutas. Smart stuff right there. Meanwhile, where are the drops? I'm looking for a big push to come out and a drop coming into the fourth base. I think that's what we're going to see. 4 dropships. Wow. So that is definitely a big Doom drop. Meanwhile, the army moving across the map, they're going to try to break into this natural. And is there defense of that natural? There's definitely a lot at the fourth base, but we haven't seen the natural in a while. And if the natural doesn't have any defilers or lurkers there, it could be some really serious trouble coming out for Larva pretty soon. The drop play coming into the third base right now. Meanwhile, a couple of units over here. There's going to be able to drop a couple of stuff. And 2 of the dropships going down immediately. There's a couple of units that are going to be dropped there. Are going to snipe that first lurker. So this is not as well as it going as well as it could be for Larva right now. He is going to lose a couple of drones to this, but more units coming in. They're going to be able to push this bio back, or at least corral them into the corner. So not the most effective drop, but still effective. Definitely did some damage, slowed down the gas production, and even some of those science vessels coming in to snipe a couple of those as well. I think a couple of those science vessels actually went down to Scourge just now. Really good swarm again, and he's going to be able to get the lurkers underneath, so Bio can't push any further, and this is a huge massacre of Piano's units. Piano losing tons of units. He's going to go for another drop, but again, there's units in position. Larva always being smart, always keeping his units in the right spots. He's not going to get complacent about it, and he sees this on the minimap. He's going to be able to push this back. Oh, are they going to connect? There goes another drop. Wow. So tons of units going down for this. Is the switch into mech right now with the first couple of vultures coming out. Piano may be staying on this bio for a little bit longer than he should have, and the upgrades for Zerg are starting to catch up. He probably has adrenal glands +2/+2 at least, and even, oh wow, we're gonna see some battle cruisers, guys. Battle cruisers. Everybody Show me your dongers in chat for battle cruisers, please. Everyone type 1 in chat for battle cruisers. We're gonna be seeing a lot of stuff coming out right now, and even more bio going down, but this is so interesting to mix in the battle cruisers. This is going to be very annoying going into the later parts of the game, but beautiful counterattack coming in right now with these lurkers being able to snipe off quite a few of these Marines. Even more lurkers coming in right now. They might actually be able to snipe off a huge chunk of these SCVs, and only on 3 bases is Piano. He still hasn't got that 4th base up, and this is actually so strong. Right now, Larva's doing so much damage to his opponent's economy, but the first 2 battle cruisers are out, and they're going to go start harassing this base. Battle cruisers are just so difficult to deal with just Scourge, but how does he know? How does he know? Larva just knows. He immediately knows that it's coming. Oh my god! What? What? Alright, the battle cruisers are down. Guys, I hate to say it, but Piano's 100% dead. He's 100% dead. Oh my god. Oh, that was like his big trump card was like battle cruiser harass, but there's already stuff in position. Ultralisk even coming out pretty soon. God, how is Larva such a god at this matchup? See, every time that Piano tries to go for something different, Larva just has an answer. He hasn't been that cost efficient with these lings in recent times, but he does have a couple lings up at the top right-hand corner. He could stop this 4th base from really getting established. And the problem for Piano is even if he does make the switch to mech or even a biomech composition, he doesn't have that 4th base income. He doesn't have the split map pressure that he would like to have at this point in the game. His expansions have been very slow, and he hasn't been able to keep up with Larva sniping his bases and preventing him from actually getting established on that high ground area. But more units floating across the map for both players, actually. It looks like a big counterattack coming in for Larva while Piano pushes across the map, and a big drop coming in here to the 3rd base. One of the dropships is going to get sniped, and already a Defiler in position is going to be able to clean that up, and the drops just get completely cleaned out. No damage done at all by that drop. That was actually insane. The Piano is going to continue to try to drill this area, but again getting plagued onto these science vessels, so he's just getting slowly torn apart. 3rd base getting counterattacked by Lings is going to clean up a lot of those SCVs, force the lift off. And at this point, Larva probably knows that the 4th base is up as well, so he's probably going to send another group of Lings up there pretty soon. Piano really desperately wants to break this 4th base, but he just can't. He doesn't have the units. He doesn't have the right tech to deal with it. And Larva's just been on top of everything. Every single time that Piano's looked for a place to drop, it just hasn't worked. And he hasn't been able to make any sort of a foothold, and just this army getting surrounded and completely annihilated. We're going to see Larva probably push across the map and try to go for the throat at this point. This is so much damage that he's done to the Terran army. And even with the 7-8 barracks that Piano has, eventually it is going to be overrun by Zerg units, especially if Larva micros well. But look at so many units going across the map now, and even some Ultras as well. These Firebats will do quite amazing, but a lot of those science vessels going down to Scourge, and there's the GG. Larva is going to the ace match. We are gonna go all the way to an ace match. Larva can pull off the reverse all kill. Let's see it. Oh god, this has been an intense series. I said at the beginning of the cast today, I said this was gonna be the highest level of games that we were gonna see all week, and I was right. This is by far the highest level quality games that we've seen so far in this event. Amazing play by Larva, just stopping Piano at every single turn, and Piano did play pretty well. Maybe not as well as like maybe Last or Flash may have played, but just like Larva just had answers for everything Piano had. It's insane. So crazy. I can't even believe it. Hey XXX, I'm looking back up at the chat, and XXX says, why would he go battle cruisers without assistance? You can actually go you can actually go for battlecruiser harass, where you send in a couple of battlecruisers while you're pushing across the other side of the map, and it functions pretty much the same as drop play, but the difference is it can't be cleaned up by lurker defiler Ling. So it becomes much more difficult to deal with. Usually, Zerg players are mostly focused on stopping drop play with like 2 to 4 well-placed Scourge, and then just having units in position, ground units in position to deal with anything that comes out of the drop ships. But they can't really shoot up most of the time. In that particular case, for whatever reason, Larva just knew it was coming and already had enough Scourge in place to deal with it. So it was very smart play from Larva. And I'm really surprised that he managed to snipe it so quickly. Hey Foxan, why removing cans between games? I haven't really found a good place to put it. I actually should put it right on top of this screen where Genyuda and Brittany's face is. But I haven't really found a good way to put it up there without blocking out the title. I need to... what I need to actually do is I need to take a screen cap and create a PNG overlay that I can put up. So I just put my cam behind that as well. But I haven't gotten around to it yet. I'll definitely have it for the finals, so we'll be able to see the transition won't look so awkward. It's still a little bit awkward because we're waiting for the transition from them, and then I'm kind of reactively transitioning while they're transitioning. It's difficult when you're dealing with somebody else's production rather than doing your own production. Are you leaving? Are you leaving, Cerberus? Oh, Dr. Nameless is leaving. Thanks for watching so much, Dr. Nameless. I hope you watch the VOD. This has been super, super epic, and I can't wait to see the final game. I'll see you later, Dr. Nameless. You have a wonderful day.
그때 이제 그 조기석, 이영환, 유영진, 한두열을 올킬 했었거든요.
Also, I like having downtime on my face where I can like, you know, drink coffee and like slump in my chair and I don't look so bad. You know, it's difficult when the world's looking at you 100% of the time. You know what I mean? We're gonna be going into the final game of the series. Match point. All right, boys, let's do it. Final game. Can Larva pull off the reverse all kill? This is what a great map for the finals as well. It's going to be on Fighting Spirit, the classic map, the classic showdown for TVZ on Fighting Spirit. In the top left, in the yellow, it is going to be for Team Soulkey Light. Can he finally finish off what Soulkey did, or is Larva going to get that reverse all kill? And eventually we will go to the bottom left, where we will see in the red, it is going to be Larva, our hero. Can he actually pull this off? Can he get the reverse all kill? If he could, that would be the sickest thing I've ever seen. So I'm really looking forward to this match. There's Larva. Is he going to do anything funny? Is he going to go for an early pull like he did in the last game? Or is he just going to go play a little bit more standard? Fighting Spirit is one of those maps that is a little bit interesting because for a long time it was praised and lauded for its balance. You know, this is the most balanced map. It's amazing. There's every map or every race has a chance to win on this map. But the longer that it's been played in professional play, the more we've realized, you know, Terran might have like a slight edge in TVZ on this map, like a really heavy slight edge, like a 60 to 65 win percent slight edge. So to some degree, this is a bit of a Terran favored map, and the reason for that is just because it's a bit of a smaller map compared to something like Circuit Breaker, Salamander, or some of the maps that we see today. So pushes come across the map much faster, and delaying with Mutiling is much harder than it would be on one of those larger maps. At the same time, there's not a lot going on in the middle of the map. So Mutalisk harassment is also a little bit more difficult as units are moving across the map. You can still play around with the little ruins on the side of the middle of the map, but it's still it's difficult to really actually get a strong foothold and delay the turn for a significant period of time compared to some of the other maps, which have features where a lot of different features where the Mutalisk can retreat to and kind of snipe units from the high ground, etc. And then the other big reason is just because there's not a lot of bases on this map. The bases are pretty much in all of the directions of the compass, so it's difficult to actually fully take advantage of the map. And because there's, compared to Circuit Breaker, which has all of those mineral-only expansions, there's not as many options to expand to as the Zerg player. So we are going to be seeing a pretty standard opening coming out from both players. Light just scouting around the map, looking for his opponent, going for that CC, that one-rack CC. Meanwhile, 3-hatch coming out from Larva. Larva, again, doing a great job of just getting damage onto these workers early on, making it way easier for his Lings to snipe them later on. And it's just going to be a pretty standard opening to a TVZ. I'd be surprised if we see any sort of major variation. Ooh, is he going to get a... Oh, not quite. Like, kind of paying attention to his SCV. He's not going to walk down that ramp and immediately die, but Larva should be able to clean this up pretty nicely. And this is where you can do a slight variation where you can go for Ling speed instead of Lair first. But we'll have to see what Larva decides to go for. You need to check, where is the gas going? Is he going to be going into the Lair, or is he going to going into the Ling speed first? Goes into Ling speed first, then Larva will definitely be attacking early on and trying to get a lot of damage done. He's not trying to hide any more information. He knows the second SCV is coming across the map. Maybe he'll be trying to snipe it as it's moving out, but smart play to just go straight through those. With before his last SCV died, he clicked on the minerals, so he could click through the Lings. So very smart play. And that's going to get in and see exactly what's going on. Looks like it was the Lair first, so not going to be very aggressive, just a standard Mutal play. And the early eBay signifies that we are going to be having the +1 5-racks coming out from Light, which is very strong in this map. Like I said, it's very difficult to actually delay armies coming across the map. And if the third base of the Zerg player dies, he's 100% dead. 100% dead. So lots of Lings are coming out for Larva. Maybe he did go for the Ling speed first. We didn't really get a chance to see very clearly what was going on. But usually you don't make Lings this early on unless you go for that Ling speed first. So there's definitely a chance that he went for the Ling speed and he's going to be going for an attack. But we'll have to see how things pan out. It's really weird that you guys like honed in on me using the words like 100%, but I like have way worse phrases that I ever use all the time. Like, we'll have to see what's going on, or like, now we see that blah blah blah. Come on guys, be original, be interesting in your memeing. There is an 100% underline emote. Maybe that's in Discord. I know for a fact it's an emote in Discord. That might be what you're thinking of. Zen. Wait, and Niklowitz. Got it. Got it. Nailed it. So here's the third and the fourth racks. Fifth one should be coming up pretty soon. I'm surprised if we don't see a fifth one. If it's like a 4 racks plus 1, that's unusual, to say the least. But Larva doing a really good job so far of just annoying his opponent and forcing out a couple stems, delaying this first push out for as long as possible. And you see he's also delayed making those sunkens for as long as possible, trying to save as much money as he can. It looks like it is going to be 4 racks. Looks like he's not going to be going for the 5th racks. I don't know what's going on, guys. This is so weird. Oh, nice pickoff on that scouting SCV. So The corners of the map not scattered by Light right now. He doesn't know if his opponent's going to be going for the bases. Eventually, he's going to have to send a couple units over there when he moves out on the map for the first time. And the first mutalisks are out. Very greedy to be going for this with 0 Sunkens out on the map. Larva's pretty confident that he can do some damage to these mutalisks early on without the threat of being counterattacked too soon. And Larva, this is again what I'm talking about. No one else has success in keeping the Terran pinned back like this, except for Larva. Larva is he does such a good job. His opponent, look, Light made 3 of those missile turrets in his natural because he's terrified of this harassment. And he's even kept an entire group at home using stems trying to push these mutalisks back. Larva just doing a really good job of keeping his opponent pinned back, and it looks like he's going to be taking that 3rd base down in the bottom right-hand corner while he takes up to his lurkers. First couple of units moving out across the map, and there's not a lot of that he can do right now, but he's going to be going in for the counterattack, maybe? Nope. He gets sandwiched by these units, and Larva's going to be pushed back for right now. Lots of units going down. Is he actually going to be able to kill off this entire force? Wow. So many Marines go down. Good target firing from Light to pick off a few of those mutas, but that shaved off a pretty significant chunk of bio, and that's going to make life a lot easier for Larva coming in the future. Even with the 4-racks pumping units constantly, killing off that much bio early on is going to make this defense way easier. Lots of units coming across the map right now. The second wave of Lings is right now. Ooh, losing a couple of mutalisks. That's not great. But the Hydras are on that high ground, and once Lurker upgrade is done, they are going to be able to hold that off as long as he keeps a Hydra on the ramp. And there it is, very nicely played. Basically what happens is you stagger this so that you morph 2 Lurkers on the high ground, and then you morph 1 Lurker on the ramp, and the Lurker egg on the ramp blocks the bio from actually getting up there until the other 2 finish. But you have to make sure you stagger it. If you morph them all at once, then they'll all finish at once, and then the Lurker on the ramp dies, and then the 2 on the high ground get killed off immediately. You have to have enough time to burrow the Lurkers on the high ground to screen for that other Lurker that's on the ramp. But more bio going down right now, and just Larva being very smart with his positioning. Big attack coming in, but there's a Lurker and lots of Sunkens there. Oh, but Light might actually... Is he going to be going for... No. Maybe that was like the most epic bait ever. Light pretended like he was going to go all in, and Larva actually freaked out enough that he just flew his Mutalisk straight over the bio pack, so that wasn't very great. More stems going down, forcing out more stems, making these Marines weaker, lowering the mana on all of these medics. So very nice play so far. 3rd base is going up right now. We should be seeing a hive coming up pretty soon, and I believe that was double starport. So we are going to be going into that SK Terran style coming up pretty soon. So more damage coming in. Sorry, I shouldn't reach out while I'm trying to cast. You guys are taking this 100% dead meme way too hard. Alright, so double starport, only 4 racks. Like I said, this is very unique. Usually you see up to the 5 racks, but maybe Light wanted to go for a bit faster tech, so he went for only 4x instead of 5. Still no 3rd base for Terran, so the longer this game goes on, and wow, that's so many drones. Basically, Larva's going to immediately be able to saturate that 3rd, and he's going to be in great shape. So this is going so well for Larva right now. Larva is 100% in the lead, 100%. So he's actually going to be going for Hive Tech pretty soon as all of these science vessels get up. The real question is, can Light break this before the fighters actually get in position? He's got a really nice dropship going in right now that's going to bypass these lurkers, and there's nothing really in position right now. There is a very nice Nicely placed. Oh, there are going to be units in position. They're going to be ready to deal with this, but dropping behind the middle line is very smart. But they're just, wow, Ro4 just doing such a great job of being in position. Doesn't quite manage to kill off everything immediately and doesn't get the dropship, unfortunately, but he is going to be able to clean up this drop, and with only losing one drone, that's fantastic for him. That's amazing. You actually even saw he's going double Evo chamber, so he's going to be going heavy into those upgrades pretty soon. Meanwhile, Light's going to be taking his 4th base up on that high ground at the same time he's taking his 3rd base. Usually at this point, once we see the mech transition, we're going to see just a ton of CCs going down during this transition. And that's just because Zerg can't actually really do anything with this much bio on the map currently. And once mines start going down over by that 4th base, it's going to be almost impossible for Zerg to really push out with a whole bunch of lings and go for counterattacks up in that top right. So very nicely played from Light, doing a very good timing on this transition, but losing a lot of bio in the process. He needs to make sure that he keeps as much of this bio alive for as long as possible, because that's all of his map control. If he loses the bio early on, then he loses all map control. He loses his ability to effectively free expand and make tons of units. If he loses all of his bio units right now, then obviously you just walk across the map as Zerg and kill your opponent. A little bit unfortunate that Ro4 still hasn't gotten his 4th base up. He really needs to push down this ramp soon and start getting the control of this 4th base so that he can finally actually get that 4th gas and start just pumping out pure units. But he's trying to be safe about this. He's taking his time, very methodically getting units in position, ready to actually take this down. And are these Mutilis going to be irradiated? Pretty good splits overall. Not the best split in the world. Oh, he didn't see the other one. Wow, that's actually a lot of irradiates just to kill off the Mutilis. I'm quite surprised that he used that many irradiates just to kill off Mutilis. Meanwhile, the push is finally going to be coming down here. This is going to finally push back the units that were in position. I would love to see just a couple of dropships over here. If he had a couple dropships, he could easily just load up a couple units on the high ground and go straight past all of these lurkers moving on the low ground, but it's not going to be big on Light's radar right now. Light going into big macro mode. He's going to get that 4th base up soon. We're probably going to see the 5th base. And just getting in position to split the map and go really heavily into that mech play. Very defensive play. And this game is honestly, it is 100% absolutely excellent play from both players. The racks everywhere, scouting being super annoying. And there's no defiler. There's no defiler. The lings are enough to buffer for now, but he needs to get a defiler over here immediately. Oh, that was so scary. That was so scary. But enough lurkers there to actually push that back. If there not been those lings there, that 100% would have been a dead base and maybe even GG. But very nice play to have just enough units there, even without the defiler, to actually hold that. And there's the 5th base going down for Light. He's going to be going into that crazy macro mode. Wonder what his upgrades are for his mech currently. I imagine they're already pretty good because he's had some time to build up those armories and get stuff early on, but Ro4's trying to push out of his base right now. He's going to try to go for this big counterattack. Unfortunately, the Defiler was already irradiated, so he's not going to have too much pressure moving forward. He's actually going to try to split all these units, but very nicely played from Light, splitting out his units just enough and getting a very nice surround there. Lots of units killed off there. That's actually really bad for Ro4. That was a significant chunk of his army, and he doesn't really have the economy that he needs at this point to just flood units. Actually, I take that back. He just tried to his 4th. He's in perfect position to just flood units. And this is where we just see the back and forth flood, where you'll see units move up to this top left and units move up to the top right. Units going up to the top left, top right. But Ro4's really just, he's focusing on trying to break this mid. If he can break the mid, then he can actually move out and do a lot of damage. We've only got +1 attack on the mech army, so it's still going to be pretty vulnerable to lings. Before you get those upgrades on the vehicle plating, they're a lot more susceptible to lings early on. Lings don't do a lot of damage, but they attack really fast, which means the more armor you have, the more you can absolutely destroy. I actually did not know you could plague spider mines. That's it's pretty interesting. That's new. I actually had no idea that you could plague spider mines. And very poor play on the Scourge earlier, but nicely played by Larva. He's going to be able to clean up the units here. A couple more Bio is going to be able to come up here and control this area for now. But that means there's going to be no hatchery going down, unfortunately. And missile turrets already going up in this space. It's going to be so hard to get a good drop going in there later on. And I'd like to see some more turrets going down in the natural and the main as well, just to make sure that light has absolutely no weaknesses. If you just shore up all your defenses like this, then literally nothing can happen to you as Terran. You just tech really hard. You just tech and mech, right? Tech and mech. Very good positioning on these Marines. They eventually are going to get cleaned up because Crackwings are gods. But that is going to be pretty much the last of Light's Bio. He doesn't mind suiciding that right now, but that is so many tanks. Holy crap. That's actually so scary right now. It's going to be so hard to break the further we go down in the game. It's not the end of the road for Larva yet. He still has a chance to break his opponent once he gets maxed, but he's still only sitting at 149 in terms of supply against max. And that's not necessarily a bad position. Like I said, TVZ is a weird matchup where Zerg usually sits at a very low supply for a long time. And Terran can't actually break anything as long as swarms are up. As long as you have a lurker under swarm, Terran can never actually push forward. So it's one of these things that it looks like really, really scary for Zerg, but as long as Larva can actually get that 5th base up, as long as he can keep drops and his Ultralisk up, he's going to be able to push this back and eventually clean up the mech army. But until that point, he's really struggling to just defend and keep himself alive. More and more lings being created. He's going to try to break those tanks over there, and he still has a trump card of the Muta Switch. That is still incoming, but Larva's being pushed back right now. Light's doing a very good job of splitting the map. He's pretty much impervious to all attacks. He's built the turrets in the right place. He's established that high ground main over the top right, and he's actually doing quite a bit of damage to this natural. Oh, a Razor Trick coming in. There's no burrow, so these drones just have to run. A lot of those drones are going to go down. The Science Vessels are going to get cleaned up, but quite a few drones going down right now. And this is not a point in the game where you really want to replace drones. Larva's actually going into his Queen style. This is a style that he's been very well known for in recent times, going for Queens, because it's the only way to effectively trade with Terran mech in the late game. But unfortunately, it takes so long for them to build it up that an aggressive Terran player can easily get in here and do a lot of damage. But can he actually clean up all these tanks on time? He needs some units over here to actually clean this up, because Queens alone are not going to do it. A lot of tanks going down right there, and it looks like he's going to be able to clean that up with a few lings coming in here reinforced. And that's the power of the Queens. He spent absolutely nothing on that trade. It was just energy. And so at this point, the longer the game goes, the Queens have already paid for themselves, technically. At this point, he just needs to wait a little bit longer to actually get his... Looks like a couple drops going down on these tanks, maybe. Light being a little bit cheeky and going for that center map expansion, but that's not going to work for right now. Very strong contain over there by the 4th base. Larva just trying to bide his time, wait for the Queens to come out and go for another round to kill stuff off. He did manage to kill off another set of tanks over here really nicely, and the Ultras are out now, but if the Ultras don't have swarms, they're not going to be all that useful. Lane's getting into the 12 o'clock base. They're going to be able to break that pretty easily unless Light reinforces. Once they did send some Vultures up there, he's going to be able to stop that. But a lot of pressure coming into the Zerg natural right now, and some of these Queens and Overlords being irradiated. So that's a little bit annoying, but as long as Larva can just hold on for long enough to clean up one of these armies with Queens again, he's slowly going to be pulling ahead. He just needs to not take too much damage at this moment in time. More drops coming in. A couple of Queens are going to be able to pick off a lot of these tanks, actually, and Ling's coming in from the side. They're going to be able to clean that up as well. So very nice play from Ro4, being able to push this back. He is going to slowly stabilize, but his natural just doesn't have anything else in it anymore, and no more Sunkens left in here. Just a couple of Vultures going to come in and be able to deal some damage. Meanwhile, he's pushing up the right-hand side of the map, and it looks like almost sort of a quasi-base race where he's going to be losing a lot in his natural and his main, but he's going to be trying to push up into the right side of the base and break that other main. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it, though. Light already has tanks in position, and he's replacing the mines over here in this top left-hand corner. There's not enough queens to kill off all these tanks. The economy is just not good enough for Zerg. Some units being able to get in here right now, and they're going to be annoying in that mineral line, but reinforcements are easily going to be able to clean that up. Even the Valkyrie's out right now. The Valkyries are going to be able to clean up queens in the short future, and Light has taken a decisive lead in this game, pushing up into the main right now. There's a couple units that are going to be annoying and push that back, but 3-2 upgrades on mech. It's just so scary. Wait, did he just kill his Valkyrie, or was that like a Scourge that flew into the Valkyrie? That was pretty weird. Either way, at this point, Light has completely broken his opponent. The natural's gone. The main is being sieged down right now. Even if Ro4 survives for the next 2 to 3 minutes, he's going to be so far behind in economy that he's never going to catch up. Light even going so far as taking the 3 and the 9 bases at the same time. So there's the GG, and looks like Light was able to do it. Ro4 not getting the all kill. Team Soulkey with the win and a 4-3 victory. Holy crap, you guys. Honestly, I think Light might actually be a god. Light played so well. After watching Ro4 just complete a dismantle piano and then getting manhandled by Light that way, it's impressive. Light has really been on fire recently, and I think there's a very good chance that he might do very well in the next LAN. It's all because I cursed Ro4. I said he's the best ZBTer in the world, and then like he gets wrecked. But I mean, that's the same thing we thought when Jadon played against Last. When Jadon played against Last, like he was playing brilliantly and everything was going perfectly. Jadon versus Last in ASL 3, by the way. And then just died. Just died because Last was playing way better. But I mean, to some degree, also it's the effect of the map. Like I said, that map has something crazy like a 60% plus win rate for Terran. It's a really good Terran map. Over time, I'm pretty sure that Flash for the Win actually wrote an article on this fairly recently, like within the last 6 months. But either way, still well played by Light, well played by Ro4. Looks like they're calling up Light right now to ask him what's going on, how he feels, what's going on. Korean caster looks like Ro4. Which one? The other one of them looked like Ro4. You mean Brittany? I think you're just saying that because they have like frame glasses and because they're Korean. Yeah, Fighting Spirit TVZ stats 63%. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's actually super broken. It's 100% broken. Oh gosh. I think that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for me. They're just talking to Light, seeing how he's doing, how he felt after that. Unfortunately, I don't speak Korean, so I couldn't help you. If anybody speaks Korean in the chat, you can definitely help out with the translation. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna say goodbye to everyone. Thanks you guys so much for watching. This is the last of the round of 4 of the Ganyuda team battle. We'll be having, I guess, the finals coming up pretty soon. Is there a bracket? Or are they just doing final? No, okay, they're just doing finals. I wondered if there was like a upper-lower bracket type thing going on, but it's just going to be the finals. And it looks like in the finals is going to be, it's going to be Team Mong versus Team Soulkey. So if you guys remember, Team Mong has Mong, Effort, Snow, Sky High, and they've all played really well throughout this tournament. So I don't know if it's going to be as close as this particular matchup, because honestly, Soulkey, like Team Soulkey and Team Last, both very excellent teams, so it's hard to believe that they actually lost. I think if not for that snipe on Last, then Team Soulkey would have had a much harder problem in this matchup. But very well played by Soulkey earlier. Looking forward to that. We don't have the information quite yet, but you can always check back at teamliquid.net. KHJ should be posting that information soon. This VOD will be up on my YouTube, as well as I'll be posting it in the thread. Sorry, I'll be posting it in the thread as well, so you can check that out. Thanks everyone for watching, and hi, what's up? Does anybody need something? Sorry. What do you guys want? I'm sorry, I got totally distracted by chat. Guys, I'm saying goodbye. I'm saying goodbye. Alright, so that's gonna be all. I'm Esports John. If you need to find out anything else about me, just look below. I've got my Twitter, my YouTube, etc. So you can follow me there and see what I'm doing. I'm definitely going to be casting some TBLS replays that I got from Fat vs. AJ next week. So looking really forward to that, and I'll be posting a lot of that on my YouTube. Thanks guys for watching, and I will see you guys later. Have a great day.
거기서 이제 저희가 세팅을 해서 할 건데 중요한 건 이제 아프리카 쪽에서 도와주는 거.
Get some sick music in here.
Broken. Don't ever forget you're golden. I will find a light in your soul.